So we have Nick, who is Lord Cormac, and I forgot to put Lord Cormac under his D&D name. Shame on me. Uh, they are playing a. Well, go ahead and introduce your character.
Today I will be playing Lance Stormshield, who is a human hexblade warrior.
And then we have Julian Faust, which is played by Theracles. Go ahead and wave and introduce your character.
Hi guys, I'm playing Ulian Faust, third level ranger, but has more of like a background, also some like more skills, of more like a rogue does. But
And then we have Lawrence, and I don't have your last name up. I'm sorry. Go ahead and introduce yourself, being played by the grumpiest of Gus's.
I'm playing Lawrence Vinther, who is a human druid from the Circle of Wildfire.
Perfect. So those are our characters. A little bit of background about this campaign for the start. It is set in Shattered Kingdoms. It's a LARP setting that I have created for a LARP called Amped Guard. We do a yearly camp out, and since we weren't able to do the camp out last year, we're going to be doing some D&D in this setting. But it takes place 2,500 years or so before the LARP setting. So we're delving into the past of the Shattered Kingdoms. It's 458 after the uprising. If you get into the lore of the timeline and stuff like that. So the Marconian Empire, which is where all these characters come from, is like a very big empire, and they consider themselves like the seat of civilization at this current time. They have a vast empire, and they incorporate other kingdoms by taking them over diplomatically or culturally or sometimes militarily, often militarily, honestly. And so these adventurers are being tasked with going to this unexplored area, exploring it for the Empire, and they're working for the military. And so they're trying to basically gather intel and tell the military if there's a diplomatic situation, the lay of the land, and everything they can gather, basically. And then report back to the military in 6 months. They have a person called Wilkins who will be joining them. He is from the military. But the thing is that they're not supposed to tell anyone that they're from the Marconian Empire, and they're moving to this new area. They sent some people ahead to buy a tavern inn that they can use as their base. And so we're going to start where they've just finished a 1 to 2 month journey to this new location. So they all met up about a month ago in the major northern city of the Marconian Empire, and so they've been traveling together for about a month. And we're going to start where they find Ermios. As you crest the hill, you get your first sight of Ermios. In its heyday, it would have rivaled any of the Marconian Empire's major cities. It looked like it used to be a massive port. Where there used to be a bay, there is now a massive amount of spiky, hilly islands surrounded by swamp water. As you follow the road, you encounter the bridge into the city. It is massive, spanning what looks like it used to be a large river. Now all that remains is a slow-moving creek and some swamp land. The bridge is twice as wide as the road you're on, indicating that the road used to be more heavily traveled. You take the road around the city, which merges into a much larger and heavily used road that goes into the main gate of the city. So I guess I should have mentioned to the viewers that are not aware of this is kind of a post-apocalyptic setting. The world was completely destroyed by a god about 500 years ago, and so like the land mass changed. So like here there is no longer a bay. There used to be a bay, but now there's a bunch of like islands that have been popped up from the earth shaking and stuff like that. Post-apocalyptic stuff like ruins and stuff like that are just everywhere. As you ride through the ruins, you notice some people living as you get closer to the inner city. Outside the city wall, there is a large grassy area. Many of the buildings look inhabited, but are very run down. The people are basically just living in the ruins. The massive city gate is open, and the ancient walls of the inner city look like they have been recently repaired. You, unless you stop to talk to the guards, you're just waved through with no problem. So,
Yes, carry on, soldiers.
effectively, yeah. And Vargas, who is the person who met you about a week ago in your travels, he is escorting you to the Brass Cup. The Vargas escorts you through the main road. Along the road are various shops. The buildings look ancient, but mostly in good repair. There seems to be an inordinate amount of chickens. Julian, go ahead and make a perception check.
Perception. Let's go. All right.
Tell us how many
Got a
chickens you see.
19.
Got 19. All right,
Yeah.
so there are some stalls, and it's kind of the afternoon or the late morning lull. So there aren't too many people up, but you notice there's a bunch of like children's amongst the people that are there, and you just happen to see one swipe a coin purse. And do you do anything
Hmm.
as you're riding through?
I'm gonna go follow that kid for a second. I'm not gonna stop it, but I want to go see what he's doing.
Right. So you don't have to really get off your horse or follow him too much because he just kind of goes through an alleyway that's nearby, and you see him talk to another kid, probably in his mid to late teens, kind of scraggly looking, and he hands him the coin purse. The guy reaches in, pulls out some money, gives a little bit to the kid, and then the guy disappears back into the alleyway.
Okay.
So you can surmise what's going on there if you'd like, but you may have found someone to talk to about criminal activities.
For sure. And I saw the person he handed the purse to.
You did. So you're able to know where it is in the city, and you'll probably be able to recognize the person if you see them again.
Sure, yeah.
Unless like months later or something like that. Then there will be a roll.
Okay, sounds good, Jeff. I just take like a mental note, and I'm like, all right, as soon as I get done with my business at the cup, I'm gonna probably come back this way.
Okay. Let's see. Eventually, you get to the Noble District. It is gated and has guards stationed, but the gate is open, and they also pay you little mind as you ride through. Despite it being cold, sorry, I'm moving my window again. Despite it being called the Noble District, what you see is a street full of noble houses which have been turned into inns and taverns. You find your new home, the Brass Cup, near the entrance, but a row behind the main strip, so you're off to the side. Despite the off-beaten track, the building is still impressive. You see a two-winged mansion with a central hall. There is currently scaffolding covering up the walls, but it looks like it was in disrepair, but is mostly finished now.
It's a house fit for a lord.
Yep. So Vargas takes you to the side of the main hall where the stables are. He gets off a... sorry, my descriptions are somewhere else. He introduces you to Barry Vong, the stable hand. He is a grubby, older-looking boy with dark brown hair. Vargas disappears into a side entrance, and you are there with your wagon, horses, and you are basically settling into your new home. So he leaves you there, and he says he'll be right back. The stable hand, Barry, just kind of nods at you and lets you talk to him, and just goes about his business, taking your horses as you get down, and basically storing the tack and doing his job.
The fixer-upper, guys, but I think we've got a little bit of work ahead of us.
Well, I'm sure the rest of you can handle it.
If Barry has a moment, I get his attention.
He stops taking a saddle off and looks over at you as you get his attention.
Hey, so as we were coming into town, I noticed that it looked like there'd been a recent attack on the city. Some of the walls have been damaged. Do you know what's been going on?
Nah, it wasn't a recent attack. They're just finally getting to rebuilding the walls. They're left over from God knows when. They were here when everyone moved in. There's been some tension up north, so they finally got the money to repair the wall. But I think it's just a scare tactic. I don't think the people in the north are all that scary.
Who's up in the north?
The Verarian Kingdom. They were one of our biggest trade partners, but they're very secretive.
You don't, yeah. You don't suppose that they might be up to something no good. After all, you are. It does appear that you are trying to thin your city's defenses.
Well, I wouldn't know anything about all that, sir. I'm just a stable hand, but I don't know if they're really a problem or not. The leaders say they are, but they're just merchants, so who knows?
Well, you have nothing to fear now that myself and my companions are here. I'm a decorated war veteran, don't you know?
He kind of passively looks at you. That's very comforting.
I start pointing at the various badges and medals of honor that I have adorned all over my chest, and I'm just naming like it's like I won this one at the Battle of this. Like I just kind of start rambling about all my feats and exploits, just kind of bragging about it.
Well, he pays attention to what you're saying, and he even looks a little interested, a little impressed, compared to what he said what he looked like when you initially said that you were a war hero. Now that you've explained it to him.
Yes. So no need. I've left plenty of room for more badges. Should any danger come your way.
As you're in the middle of talking with him, Vergis, sorry, comes back out with a bunch of people. He's like, so these are your clerks. He points to himself. I'm one of your clerks. Mineas Keepdon. He points to a mid-20s human with light brown hair. He bows. Then coming out from behind him is someone that's late, probably in his 30s or 40s. He's dressed nicer than the other people, and he just comes out and bows and says, I am Marcade Guilford. I am your major domo. I am the person in charge of running your business when you're away. And he looks at Vargas, nods, and Vargas goes away. And he says, I will show you around your new home as this the stable hand takes care of the cart and puts everything away.
Oh, thank you, sir.
He nods. If you follow me, he takes you to the front. There is a side entrance, but I wanted you to go through the front just so you can see the building. We have been working on it for a couple months. It's a stable place, but we spent some money to spruce it up because we want to actually turn a profit, don't we? So the guild, he kind of leans in a little bit so no one else can hear. The Adventurers Guild fit the bill for this. You don't have to worry about it. And it's a pretty nice big oak door. And he opens it and walks in, and what must have been an antechamber has been opened up to the Great Hall. And there is a Great Hall that goes forward, so it's long, and then there's two sides to it. There's tables and fireplace on each side. It's pretty barren right now, but you do see a half orc sitting off in the darkness corner drinking something. He seems to be just minding his own business. Further down at the other end, you see the bar. There is a dwarf behind it, and It's actually pretty dark in here. It's not very well lit, but it is newly renovated. And so the major domo kind of just walks in and just like lets you look around for a minute and just kind of let you take it in. He then grumbles, "I want it to be lighter in here. The barkeep had other plans." He grumbles something about being stubborn. Yeah.
What does the barkeep have against having a well-lit entertainment area?
He was the previous owner, and he said if he is going to keep working here, he's going to run the bar his way, and he wants to keep it like it was. He barely let me renovate the inside. At least it looks nice, if not dungy or dark. He says his customers like it that way. And I didn't want to bother finding a new bartender, so
What?
And speaking of which,
What kind of client? Sorry.
no,
What kind of clientele would prefer it so dark and dreary?
I
reckon
I
half
don't
orc
know.
fellow.
He says he has customers, but I hardly ever see anyone in. Hopefully, you'll be able to change that with your fame and fortune that will be awaiting you. He doesn't seem very excited about the idea.
Well, well, I'm sure he'll come around. In the meantime, I guess I'll make sure to bring my own candles if I choose to dine and relax in here.
There are private chambers as well, which we'll get to in just a moment. Private dining room, even in your wing. But yeah, I'm sure the bartender will not bother you if you bring out candles. You are the owners, after all. Speaking of which, let me introduce you to him. He walks forward. The bartender did not come out to greet you. He looks grumpy. He is a dark red-haired dwarf. He's able to stand above the counter slightly, so the counter is kind of low. But he wants to be, but he's able to see out. As Marcade takes you over there, he just kind of waves and said, "This is Brevin Dolonite. He's the bartender for the Brass Cup."
You said Brethren Dolonite?
Yeah, Brevin.
Allow me to introduce myself. I am Lance Stormshield, and these are my companions.
He's picks up a cup, kind of ignoring you for a second, starts wiping it down. He looks up at you. "Very nice to meet you. Welcome to the Brass Cup."
Oh, please, the pleasure is all mine. Quite a lively establishment you have here. Very, what's the word? Quaint, rustic, very relaxed. Very nice place you have here.
He raises an eyebrow. "Yes, it's very nice. Exactly how I like it," he says very forcefully.
And you were the previous owner, correct, sir?
I was. My family owned this place for a couple generations, several in fact.
Definitely something to be very proud of, and I imagine that's the main reason you're sticking around, right?
That, plus the handsome wage that I was promised. He looks over at Marcade and glares, then looks back at you.
Well, we're very glad that you decided to stay with us. I'm sure your expertise, would be invaluable, and I definitely can see that you have a sense of, pride and purpose amongst us, and we're very glad that you've decided to stay with us.
He almost smiles and just kind of grunts in acknowledgement. He nods a little.
I'm sure we've got some things to take care of, but I'll be back to speak with you, sir, and make sure that everything is accommodated and we can come to a good agreement on things.
Very good. He says that more gruffly. Very good. Not lackadaisically. Sorry, that
Okay.
was me. Marcade, the major domo, just kind of he almost rolled his eyes, but he didn't. He says, "Well, let's go into the kitchen." He goes behind the counter, goes into the kitchen. There seems to be food cooking. There is a middle-aged woman stirring a pot over a fire. There seems to be a bread oven in here, so that's fancy. And you smell fresh bread. The woman looks back as you enter, and Marcade points over. This is Portia Bottom. She's been a cook here for a very long time, so we just go ahead and hired her on. She smiles back at you. Good evening. Marcade, who are these people? You're like, these are the owners that we told you about. They're your new bosses. She's like, oh, well, welcome. Hello, I'm, as he said, Portia.
Oh, a pleasure to meet you. Perhaps you've heard of me. I am Lance Stormshield, decorated war veteran, and these are my companions. He proceeds to start pointing out all of his badges again and bragging about his many achievements and exploits.
She, as you start talking, she kind of cocks her head to the side and is kind of like paying attention to you and just kind of nodding inappropriately. She seems to be generally interested in what you're talking about. And then you go on for a while, and Marcade just kind of like, and this is Julian. So he's kind of interrupted you after you've gone on for quite a while, but just kind of moving that along.
Wonderful to meet you, madam. This bread smells divine. I look forward to these wonderful things that you're making.
Well, it's almost lunchtime, so I'm sure you'll have some soon. We have stew today, beef stew. That is lunch. She points over to
Fantastic. I look
the,
forward to
Indeed.
it.
and then Marcade points over to Lawrence. This is Lawrence.
It's a pleasure, ma'am.
Yeah, nice to meet you, Lawrence. It's like she kind of says, "Oh," and she turns around. I have to get back to cooking. She's like grumbles something about, "I hope I didn't burn it," and then she goes back to stirring. But then Marcade says, "All right, so I guess I'll show you to the cellar." He goes back out of the kitchen. Walks in front of the bar because he almost walked behind the bar, but then Beverin like glared at him, and he stepped back from the bar and walked in front of it to the other door on the other side of the bar. Yeah, this is the cellar. It's down this way. It's been recently renovated too. It was not in good repair, and so he takes you down there, and it's pretty nice. It is actually lit. There's a torch going. It seems to not produce any smoke. And there's actually a bunch of barrels. You actually see more than just ale, but also some bourbon caskets and stuff like that. Actually, gonna roll a die here. First die cam roll.
Oh yeah.
And it went the other way, so I don't know if people saw it. Go ahead and roll a dexterity save, Julian.
Me? Oh, right on. Let's go. Dexterity save. I'm gonna roll it with my +5. I got a natural 20, 25.
Nice. All right. So as you're walking around, just kind of like, yay, it's a cellar. This is a nice cellar, but whatever. You kind of walk near a wall. You find yourself falling. You hear a bunch of rocks crumble, and you just start tumbling down a dirt hole, it looks like, and there's a bunch of dust. You hear a squeak as you land. You hear some glass shattering. You take no damage, but you did fall quite a ways. It was a big tumble, but it wasn't straight down. It was more like at an angle. You stand up, you brush off the dirt, and you notice off in the distance that down a hallway that is dimly lit, you see a creature that looks like a goblin running away from you.
Are you all right?
Everyone else sees Julian basically crumble, fall down a shaft. So whatever they did, they must have hit something, and the wall is kind of partially gone. And yeah, the party is split.
Right.
Can we see him at the bottom?
No, you just kind of see a hole going down at an angle.
I look down there and shout,
Okay.
Master Faust, are you all right?
Yeah, I'm fine, but there seems to be something down here. I'm in pursuit. Halt! And then I kind of chase after the goblin.
All right, so go ahead and roll. Everyone that wants to participate, go ahead and roll initiative.
I got a 6 on mine.
I got a
Right.
21.
My initiative that'll be a total of 18.
Lawrence, is your initiative now?
What can I see down the hole?
You see some like part of where there is the wall, then a older wall that has crumbled, and it just kind of looks like it might have been an air shaft or something. You're not really sure, but it's just a dirt shaft that goes down. There's maybe some like roots or something like that dingling. You see that there's probably a light down there coming from the area, but it's at an angle, so you can't see directly to where Yulian fell.
Can I see the floor of the shaft? Like, can I tell how far, if it's safe to jump down?
Oh yeah, it's at an angle, so you could just kind of like crawl down or scoot down or whatever. You just don't
Okay.
see the end.
I'm going to go down, and then once I hit the bottom, I'm going to cast Produce Flame as a cantrip, and then hold on to it to use as a torch.
All right, you're able to. It's about 15 feet, so one movement to get down there. It was a half movement basically because you're crawling, shuffling. So you go about 15 feet, get down there, cast your spell, and you also see that there is a goblin-like creature running down a hallway in a dimly lit area. And it is Lance's turn.
Okay. So so you say that it's a thing that in order to get down quickly you have to like crawl or something?
Yeah, it's just like shaft. You can't really walk. It's just kind of like fits a person.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to head. I'm going to head on down as well. Basically, like I'll save you.
All right, so you also crawl down there and you scoot around Lawrence, who has just cast a spell, and you also see a goblin running down the hallway. He's probably about 40 feet. You still have an action.
I draw my sword. I say, "Halt, foul creature!" and I run after it.
All right. You get about 10 feet from it. Let's see. No, it's the goblin-like creature. You notice that he is most certainly a goblin variant. He has like bigger ears and it's a little less wrinkles, I guess. But definitely not the normal type of goblin that you've seen from where you're from. But he's booking it. He has like you notice he has wearing flasks on him and kind of like a bandolier. But he's running full sprint. So he moves down the hallway and goes to the left. Julian?
Okay.
That was the goblin's turn.
Okay. How far did he make it? Because he was 30 or 40 feet before, right?
Yeah, and went down the tunnel, which was another 40 feet. So it's about an 80-foot or 80-foot wide or 80-foot long hallway. It does have torches, but like I said, it was definitely lit.
Okay, so just okay. Cool. I'm going to like pull out my 2 hand axes, and like as a bonus action, I'm going to cast my spell Zephyr Strike, and it gives me advantage on my next attack. It deals an extra D8 on a hit, and it also increases my movement speed by 30. And also with my Dread Ambusher ability, my first turn of combat, I have an additional 10 movement speed,
Oh,
so I can
nice.
move 70 feet on this turn. And so I'm gonna move up to that, and then I'm going to throw my first hand axe at it. A total of 16,
16. Yeah, that hits. Go ahead and roll for damage.
and with the additional damage, it's 12.
It hits him squarely in the back. There's a giant gash on him, and he stumbles and falls down. But he doesn't seem to be dead.
Perfect. Then I will not throw my second hand axe.
To be clear, he's not unconscious either. He just fell down when you hit him with the axe because you took so much damage and force. So he still like has hit points.
Okay.
I might not describe that very well. Sorry.
I don't know if we want to kill him or not. Like,
No, that's up to you. You're
yeah.
pretty sure if the next one hits, it would probably knock him unconscious or kill him.
Can I do non-lethal if I throw my hand axe at him? Is that an option? Or
The rules say yes. You can beat someone in. No, wait, that's only melee. You can't do it with range.
yeah, that's what I was wondering. I was like, if I throw it, I'm probably gonna kill him. I'd much rather just catch up to him and then like
Yeah.
knock him unconscious with a fist or something.
Okay.
But
So
yeah,
you're gonna
then, yeah,
hold
then
off on that attack and
yeah, I'm good for this round.
okay, Lance.
Okay, so he's like down.
Yeah, he like fell down. He has well,
Okay,
you have to
so
move to him first. You don't see him. He turned the corner, so you have to move your action. So you went 30.
okay, so I do my move action like still in pursuit.
Yeah. You get to the corner. That's about where your move action is. Move like maybe 5 more feet, and he's about 40 feet away, but on the ground. After your first move action.
Okay. All right. Well, my movement speed is only 30, so I'm going to cast Expeditious Retreat, which allows me to move at an incredible pace when you cast a spell, and then as a bonus action on each of your turns, you can take the dash action. So I'm going to cast that just so I can catch up to him.
Okay. Does that automatically give you your bonus action before the end of the turn so you could move again?
Yes.
Okay. So with your bonus action, you catch up to him? Well, 10 feet away from him.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically I move my full 30, and then as a bonus action, I take the dash action.
I'm gonna move up 30 feet as far as I can. When I see that the goblin's down, I'm gonna look around.
You don't move far enough to go peer on the corner with only 30 feet. It was like 80 foot. The whole way like 80 feet, and they move like 60 to the corner.
Then I'm gonna double move.
Okay. But you get to the corner, yeah.
And then that's my turn. I'm just looking around to see what else is here, like if there's anybody else with the goblin.
There is not. This is just another hallway. He's running into. He stands up. He runs into a room, and you can't see him because he's in the room.
Right, but am I caught up to him?
You're pretty close.
Okay, but not,
You're
not
40
close enough to like grab him.
No. After you were 10 feet away from him, and then he stood up and he moved. In game terms, it would be 30 feet, but you can't see him because he went into a room. So he didn't get a full movement action or anything, or full run action.
How does dash work again?
How does dash work?
Yeah, dash. Like if I'm dashing, doesn't that double my movement?
Actually, you're probably right. So you probably were up at him.
He would move
Okay.
60, so he would have been 20 feet away. Because I moved 70 and I was still 10 feet away from him.
Right.
I believe is how the numbers are working in my head, at least. Unless your movement speed's higher than 30, which I don't know.
It's 40, isn't it?
No, my movement speed is 30, so with dash it would be 60, I guess.
All right. So you did one move, so total of 120 feet. Yeah, you would be at it.
Okay, so yeah, I wanna
90
just
feet.
grab him,
Yeah.
like basically grab him by the
Yeah,
scruff
go
of
ahead and
his
make
neck.
an attack, a grapple.
Okay,
It's the attack of opportunity, but I'm just gonna let you grapple.
okay. Am I adding my strength or my dex?
I think it's your dex.
So that's going to be a 19.
All right, you grab him.
Okay, yeah, I just kind of grab him by the back of his neck because like he's a little dude, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just kind of grab him and I pick him up to like level with my face, and I'm just like, whoa there, where do you think you're going, evildoer?
He still has an attack action, so he's going to try to break grapple. Wow, I forgot. Is grapple opposed in this edition?
Yes, the attacker rolls athletics. The defender rolls either athletics or acrobatics.
All right, so go ahead and roll athletics. So I know your roll. You rolled a 15.
So 17.
17. All right, yeah. You maintain your grapple.
With my athletics. Okay.
And now it
I'm
is
just kind
Julian's.
of one-handed. Got him by it.
Yeah, you got him.
I would just like to see now that Lance has the miscreant and just kind of like move past it. So whatever direction he was running, I kind of want to like move at whatever safe distance I can, interpret and kind of see what's down here. If there's a certain reason he's running this way, or if there's any more goblins in the area.
You look into the room that he probably was heading to. You see it is a large room. It's kind of dark. But on the other end, kind of like to your right, because it's kind of like it's a rectangle shaped room, so it's longer going to the right and to the left. You go in, glance to the right, you see a door that is large, like 12 feet tall. It is made out of what looks like to be ivory. It's set into the door, and it's a glowing portal.
Glowing portal, okay.
Yeah, so it's
but there's
like
no
12
other
feet by 5
beings
feet.
in the room.
No,
But there's
no
no
one
other,
else. No one else in the room now.
Okay, and I'm just gonna kind of like do that and kind of look over my shoulder and just be like, guys, you might want to see this.
All right.
That's the end of my turn.
Then Lawrence.
So, does it look like Lance has the goblin pretty well handled?
The goblin is struggling like mad. He's also bleeding out. So there's going to be at least another round of him trying to escape. That's why we're in initiative still.
Okay. I don't think I'm strong enough to be much help, so I'm going to ready action. If the goblin gets up and tries to hurt anybody, I'm going to throw my produce flame at it.
Right. So it was the defender rolls athletics, right?
Either athletics or acrobatics, whatever they want.
Oh, okay. So Nick, go ahead and roll again. He's going to try to escape.
Okay. Oh, that's only going to be a 7.
Oh, well, go ahead and cast your spell because he manages to drop to the ground.
21 to hit.
First of all, this will probably kill him. But
I
you hit
only
him.
do 3 damage.
Oh, okay.
It's a cantrip.
Oh, okay. I thought you were using something bigger. 3 damage. He falls unconscious, and he's bleeding out.
I'm gonna like look down at it and be like, "Huh, seems a little toasty." I think I'm going to call him Marshmallow. But yeah, there's a giant portal in this room, guys. We should probably figure out what the deal is with this.
Well, since we can't take this one in for interrogation anymore, that's probably a good idea.
Well, it's like bleeding out. It's still alive, just unconscious.
Do believe he's still
Can
breathing.
anybody heal us?
It's Lawrence's turn.
I'm gonna go try and use medicine to stop the bleeding and make sure it doesn't die.
All right. You can do that.
Good.
I get
Yes,
a 12.
Does anyone remember the DC for this in this edition? I apologize. I should probably know this stuff.
I don't know if it's accurate, but I usually use like 10, but I don't know.
I'm pretty sure I will have saved him.
Maybe it's whatever its constitution is, I think.
It worked. So he is unconscious, but he's no longer dying. We're out of initiative.
Good, good. Regardless of how unpleasant a creature it is, it still deserves to stand trial for his crimes.
I think its crime might be living underneath the tavern. We don't.
Well,
it's too soon to make any real conclusions. We might have accidentally invaded its home and it ran away from us because we're bigger than it.
it's like, well, clearly that collapsing wall was a trap set by this foul creature. So they attempted to ensnare our good friend. So, hey, good thing I was here to rescue you.
There's like this thing in the back of my head that wants to like say something, but I'm just gonna like, you know what? Relationships are important. Like, yes, thank you, Lance. I really appreciate you being here.
Yeah. Of course, I'll always be here to look out for you. Ha ha ha. Anyway, that is like, what shall we do with this miscreant, and how shall we proceed? Should we take him back to the dungeons, or shall we proceed through this portal?
Anybody speak Goblin?
If you give me 10 minutes, I can.
Good start. Tie him up. I could throw some good berries down his throat, and then let Lawrence here investigate him or interrogate him. I mean,
I only know common and infernal.
Does I hear someone say they're tying them up?
well, I said that out loud. It's like a suggestion for what we
okay.
could do. Yeah.
How about
I have some rope right here.
why don't you work on that and I will work on preparing comprehend languages as a ritual.
Okay, is there like a post in here?
No.
Is there something I can tie him to?
Not really. Not in the immediate area. It's pretty
There's
vacant.
barrels in the other room, right?
Okay,
what?
well,
There's like barrels in the room above us before we fell, right?
Yeah, you're in a.
okay, well, remembering my days as a farmer, I will hog tie him.
All right. Go ahead and make a dexterity check because I don't. There's no used rope in this, is there? Anymore?
No.
That's going to be a dirty 20.
20. Okay. Oh, survival. Thank you, D. Or I'll just call you Dale because I know your real name. So survival.
Oh,
My bad.
Oh, then
Good.
in that case, I rolled a 19.
19. Okay. Got it. I'm just gonna. Oh, go ahead and continue. I'm just doing a roll for later for when he wakes up.
Okay, I tighten the knots, give them a jerk to make sure that he can't slip out easily, and I'm just like he'll behave himself now that he's bound.
He seems to be pretty securely tied. That only took a few minutes. I'd say 5 minutes. So you still have like 5 more minutes until comprehend languages is done.
You also mentioned that he had like vials or some type of bandolier on him, right? And if so, I'd like to investigate whatever he was carrying.
All right. Let's see. See how many survived him falling down. Several of the vials are broken. There seems to be 5 left on his bandolier of 12. They are. Oh, how do you inspect them? They're green.
They're green, you said?
There's a green liquid inside.
Sure. I don't know. I just
Taste it.
want to look, kind of look at it and see if they're identifiable, anything I've seen before, or like see the effects of it like being destroyed on his bandolier, if it's like eating at the material or anything like that.
Go ahead and roll an investigation. Do you have trained in alchemy tools?
Don't believe I do.
Okay, so just an investigation then.
Where's that? Traits, maybe? Oh, down here in the proficiency. I do not know. Okay. And you said investigation is going to give me 13 total.
All right. You do notice that the liquid is slowly burning a hole in his clothing, and it's. I mean, as time progresses, you see it going through his clothing. Do you pick up a vial? You said you did, right?
Yeah, I'll pick it up.
Do you open it and smell it and do all that kind of stuff?
I'd like to, I guess, more importantly, cut his clothing off or whatever had the liquid on it, so it doesn't like burn him and kill him by accident. And
I'll be right back.
then, then I guess I'll open it. I don't want to smell it, but I want to see if there's any initial reaction when it opens.
Okay, so you're able to take the shirt off of him, the bandolier, and stuff like that. It probably should be noted that he's wearing like decent clothing. He's not like hovel clothing or like cave dwelling clothing. That he looks to be properly clothed, like civilization wise.
Mhm.
So you take that off. You open it up. Obviously, you're not smelling it. You said, but it is a viscous fluid. It is very slow moving.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll just put the vial, like the lid back on it, and then kind of like throw those in my pack, and then
Right, do you have knowledge arcana?
no, I have negative in Arcana.
Let's see. Do they still use survival for like? Yeah, go ahead and roll survival. If I'm wrong, I'll fix it later. Yeah, if you have survival,
It's 0.
go ahead and roll. It's not impossible.
Okay, I got a 14.
All right, no. Okay.
All right.
All right. So well, that takes up your time really
Yeah, I'm good
while
for
you're
that.
waiting. Lance, you have a few minutes before Lawrence is finished with his ritual. If you want to do anything.
I'm going to walk up to the portal and just kind of look at it.
All right. It is like a faint shimmering purple. and it shimmers between kind of a royal purple to a letter purple.
Okay, I'm going to very discreetly do like an Arcana check on it.
Go for it.
That's only going to be a 9.
You have no idea. You have no additional information other than what you see, but it's obviously magical.
I'm going to put my hand on it.
On like the shimmering surface, or like the edge of the outline,
Like just kind of, like just. I'm just gonna touch the surface of it. Maybe like get my fingers into it, see what happens.
You feel a slight resistance as your hand sits on top of it. It's not really. It kind of reminds you of like lapping water, like you put your hand on top of a lake and it kind of laps, but it's not wet. And you just barely feel it.
Interesting.
And it feels like it might be pulling you in, but that it might just be your imagination.
I put my hand a little bit deeper.
It goes in a little bit faster than you expected, and your hand disappears.
Oh. I pull my hand back.
Alright, it tingles slightly, feels a little cold, but you're fine.
I just say out loud, yep, it's definitely a portal.
Alright, that's about the time that Lawrence has finished his ritual.
Is the goblin conscious right now?
No, not yet.
Can I use a medicine check to wake him up safely, or would I need to heal him?
Either could work. I think someone mentioned good berries would work too. They mentioned they're going to use good berries. I thought I heard someone say that.
Julian, do you have good berries?
I have it as a spell, yeah, so I would, if you can wake him up without me casting a spell, that'd be cool. But so if you fail, I'll do it. It sounds like
I will try medicine. I also have healing spells anyways if we need.
All right. Do you have a healer's kit, right? I think that's a thing.
That is a thing.
I do not have a healer's kit. I have an herbalism kit.
Okay.
If there's any kind of like smelling salts in there.
There aren't, but so you can still try to wake him up. It just won't give you the smelling salt bonus.
Okay,
I walk over and I just slap the goblin in the face and say, "Wake up."
That does not appear to wake him up.
I got a 14 on my medicine check to more gently wake him up.
He begins stirring.
Should I hit him harder?
I don't think that'll be necessary.
Oh, wait, he appears to be back.
Wait, hold on a second. I need to look at your passives. Florence, it almost looked like when Lance said, should I slap him harder? It almost looked like his eyes opened like larger in response. But he didn't say anything. So, could be a coincidence, but maybe the goblin understood what he said. Or he didn't like the idea of the hand being raised like he's going to get slapped again.
I take it you can understand us.
He kind of hesitates, kind of looks around, he struggles. He's kind of ignoring you right now. He's trying to get out.
I raise my hand like a backhanding motion and I say, "Answer my friend or you'll get a fresh one."
I turn to Lance and say, "Don't be hasty." I turn back to the goblin and say, "I apologize for the unpleasantness."
Well, he stops struggling at the threat of violence. He just kind of like, what? I'm not sure I'm going to do that voice, but it's a high-pitched voice. What you would expect from a goblin. And he says, "What do you want?"
We want to know who you are and what this place is.
It's my place. You need to leave.
And why did you set that trap for us?
I didn't set no trap. You invaded my home.
It's like what? Is like when our companion put pressure on the pressure plate that you clearly set, he fell through into a trap, and you tried to ambush him. Do not deny it. I saw the whole thing.
Is he speaking in common?
He is speaking in common.
Okay, just checking.
I did no such thing. You tried to kill me.
Well, it's like we'll see when we put you on trial.
What?
There seems to be a misunderstanding here. We apologize for hurting you. At this point, I'm going to cast a level 1 Cure Wounds on him. 11 points.
He seems to be much better. He doesn't glare at you, but he nods slightly, like he wants to glare, but he didn't.
So, unfortunately, my friend fell through the wall into this place, and he must have misinterpreted your intentions as hostile, and that's why he threw an axe at you.
Well, you should go back up your hole and leave me alone. Goodbye. Untie me first.
Don't be so hasty. We'd be glad to do that if you could tell us more about what's down here. We want to make sure that nothing here is a threat to the town above. We just recently took ownership of the tavern that you're living underneath.
What town? He then quietly, he realizes he shouldn't have said that, and stops talking.
It's called Ermios. Do you know much about the surface?
Tons. I know tons about the surface. But I'm not going to tell you anything. Get out of my house.
Well, unfortunately, your house is on our property, so unless you have a lease agreement, you have no right to be here.
Okay, I'll leave. Untie me.
Anybody want to ask about this glowing portal over here?
Like, first tell us what that is, and I point at the portal.
Fancy painting.
Do fancy paintings teleport you to other dimensions or worlds or whatever?
I don't know, some could. Depends on how fancy they are.
What if I threw you into it?
Everyone roll insight checks.
I was gonna ask, does it sound like he's blatantly lying to us, or like?
Yeah, everyone go ahead and roll an insight check.
I got a 3.
I have a 13.
19.
Yes.
So, Lance, Julian, wouldn't you recommend throwing him in there? He looks kind of scared. Like, no, don't throw me in there. That would be the worst thing you could possibly do to me. And he seems generally frightened. Lawrence, he is obviously not frightened. He seems to be acting.
Did you come through that portal?
Maybe. Yes.
Okay, listen, friend. Like I said, this has all just been a misunderstanding. If you can be straight with us, I'll make sure that the mean man over there, and I point to Lance, doesn't do anything to hurt you.
I just give him the stink eye. Well, now we're getting somewhere. Maybe if we tie a rope to him and toss him through while hanging onto the line, we can catch something large like bait.
He looks shaken.
It's not a bad idea. Not a bad idea in my opinion. I don't want to kill poor Marshmallow, but maybe.
Oh, did you name it?
I did.
What have I told you?
Has to
What
work
have I
off its-
told you about naming every creature you come across? You get attached, and then we might have to kill it, and then you get upset.
He could work off his, his bad deeds he's done to us. Seems like a pretty good idea to me, but
What did I do to you?
you dug this hole and then you ran away, and then I just saved your life because apparently there's something burning on your chest. You're welcome for that.
Hmm.
Yes, what were you planning on doing with all this acid?
He looks like he's not going to answer you when you ask him that question, what this stuff is.
Kind of turn to Lawrence on that one. Hopefully he can leverage that out of him.
Work with us here. My friend did prevent you from being melted by your own belongings. Clearly, there's something to that. Maybe you can explain it some more.
Is there diplomacy in this edition?
Yes. Do you want me to roll that?
Yeah.
21.
He begrudgingly like, it's none of your business. It's not for you.
Look, we just want to make sure that nothing down here is a threat to our tavern or the rest of the town above.
Oh, no threat. I didn't know. No threats. No threat. He doesn't wait because he's tied up. But like, no threats. You can go back. You can go back to your city dwelling and leave me here. I'll go away. He also seems to know what they are, but he doesn't want to tell you what they are. But
I'm
you
going
got
to
him
turn.
talking.
I'm going to turn to Yulian, and I'm going to say in Elvish, "Okay, what are we going to do now?" I don't.
So,
He looks perplexed.
Okay.
The goblin does.
I say to him, start telling the truth, or I am going to pummel you. And I'm going to roll my intimidation. That's a 23. I'm scared.
the question I was asked, I'm like, well, I'm still curious exactly what the properties of it do. So I kind of, if we want to go more dark route, I could pour it on maybe his foot or something. But that seems a little cruel. But I also don't want to just let him go because I don't think he's like he might come back with friends. That's my thought.
Yeah, I think that he's lying to us. He came in here through the portal, but I'm not really sure much beyond that. He might very well have escaped whatever's in there and is living here, or he might be an advanced scout and there's something really nasty on the other side of that.
So while you guys are having that conversation, Lance does his intimidation, and the goblin starts cowering, and like, it's slime. It's just slime.
Oh, so maybe you'd be willing to drink some.
No, it's slime.
Yeah, you look like you eat slime.
No, don't. No.
You've probably been living off of worse if you've been down here this whole time.
It'll kill me. It's slime. It burns.
Aha!
Okay.
Oops.
I don't know. I could try going to the portal and doing like a quick analysis, see if there's any tracks I can see, if there's anything bigger in there. I just don't have a system for telling you if it's bad or not. Should something go bad.
Alright, I'm going to... I'm going to take the rope off of the goblin, but fashion it into a leash around his neck, and I'm just going to be like, "We're going into that portal, and you're going to be our guide, whether you like it or not."
At this point, you hear someone coming down the hallway. You look over. When you hear it, it is Wilkins, your journaler military guy. You're like, what happened? What's going on? Is everyone all right?
He's like, "We found this creature down here. He's been hiding out, possibly a spy. Also, there's a portal."
Huh. Um, he pulls out like a notebook from his backpack and a fancy pen that you've seen him use before that doesn't seem to require any ink, but still writes. And he looks like he's writing down some notes. And he walks over and kind of looks at the goblin and writes down some notes and lets you continue.
It's like, we believe that he's been squatting down here, and he because of his living down here, he compromised the structural integrity of the wall that Yulian fell through. When he fell through, we saw this creature down here. I felt he had hostile intentions, so we pursued, and we have him captured, and he led us into this room that has a swirling portal.
He raises an eyebrow and goes looks in the room and like, wow. Huh.
And he won't tell us what's on the other side.
Well, the interesting to see what you do. He just kind of signs off to the side and finishes his notes, and then.
So, I will say I am curious what's on the other side of that portal. The four of us. Wilkins, do you want to come with us if we go to the other side?
Well, it's the easiest way to keep track of your adventures.
Okay, so how about the five of us go through, though we don't need a noose around our little friend's neck. I'm sure, I'm going to look at him when I say this, I'm sure that he means us no harm and will behave himself if we take him through briefly.
Don't feed me slime, he says. That is his response to you saying he's not going to cause trouble.
So I'm pretty good at stealth, so I can like go through the portal, and if it's safe, I'll like throw like this cup I have back through the portal.
Okay, do you want us to tie a rope around you as you go so you don't go too far? Do you want to just do your thing?
I'd rather do my thing. If something's big, I need to dodge. I don't want resistance, and I don't know how the portal's going to interact with it.
Okay.
Sounds like you have a plan.
Cool. Yeah, so I'll do that. I'll walk through this weird portal thing, and
All right, you walk up
I
to
don't know
the.
if it's important at all, but like I have some features and stuff. And one of them is that one, I have 90 vision of dark vision, and if it is dark over here, anything that like relies on dark vision cannot see me because of my umbral sight ability. So
Okay. You walk up to the portal. It's all shimmery purple. You start walking through it. It feels a little tingly, kind of like breaking the tension on water, but you're not wet. You walk through, and it's just kind of a momentary haze, and then you're in another room. You go through the portal, and it is a giant oval or a circular room. There are a total of 9 gates. 8 of them are about the size of the one that you just walked through. So about 12 feet high and 5 feet wide-ish. So it's huge, big. But then in the center of the 8, so there's gates. So there's 4 on one side, 4 on the other one, and then the 9th gate in the middle is huge. We're talking like 25, 30 feet tall and like super wide.
Okay.
But they're all evenly placed around the room. Inside the room is lit with candles. There's tables. Looks like there's some alchemist gear. You don't see anyone either. There is an exit to the room. Um, yeah, that's what you see.
Cool. Just kind of like glancing over at the exit. Is like another lit hallway, and do I see anybody like maybe in that area or?
It is lit, but you do not see anyone through that doorway from where you're standing.
And are there any traps that would be noticeable?
I'm going to roll a perception.
Natural 2022.
You see nothing that would indicate there is a trap here.
Cool. All right, then I will toss my little cutlery cup back through the portal. Let them know it's good to come through.
It should be noted that the other portals do not have a shimmering effect. They just look like they are doorways put into the stone wall. But this one
Okay.
is active.
Okay.
And so about a minute later, there is a cup flying towards you, Lawrence and Lance.
I'm going to pick up the cup and step through the portal.
And you, Lance?
I will follow.
Right. You both walk through the portal, and you have the same similar sensation of breaking the tension of water, kind of a fuzzy sight, and then you also see this room with a total of 9 gates. Only one of them is active. Additionally, I guess you also see patterns on the floor as you look down, and they're like dotted lines that are very like a mosaic line that goes to the center of the room on the floor. And you also see like tables. The tables are mismatched. They don't look like they should be in this room either.
I'm going to pull out some parchment and a quill. I'm going to make a diagram of where the portals are, mark which one we came through, and then I'm going to start looking at the portals and the mosaics on the ground to see if there's any writing that I can deduce, and then copy it down, still having my comprehend languages if it's been an hour or less.
Okay. This will take you some time to do. But you're able to start working on it. Oh, Wilkins also followed you, but he doesn't really interact with anything unless you guys interact with him.
Did anyone grab marshmallow?
No.
I will go back and grab him.
Okay. He's still tied up, and then you take him and you walk through with him. So while Lawrence is taking notes and looking through the area and investigating the room, does anyone else do anything?
I just kind of say that, either our friend here is very crafty with alchemy supplies or he's working for someone. And I'm kind of curious what that would be. So I think I'm going to go down that room exit, maybe investigate, and just letting them know that that's my intention. So.
Okay.
Okay, I ask Marshmallow. I'm just like, okay, we're in the portal. Why were you so afraid of this place?
He's like, looks around, doesn't it look spooky? I mean, it kind of looks a little spooky as dim lit candles and like ancient ruin or ancient, I don't know if it's a ruin, but it doesn't look dilapidated, but it looks old.
Doesn't look so special to me.
You can let me go now, right?
Not quite.
He looks downtrodden. Lawrence is looking around, and Julian goes and looks through the door. It's a pretty large door. It's not as big as the portals, but it's probably about 10 feet tall. so it's pretty good clearance. And it has a staircase that goes up and wraps around. You don't see where it goes, and that's to the left. And then to the right is another door, or it's open. There is no like actual door, but there's a doorway, and you can choose which way you go.
I guess I kind of peer into the open doorway, but if there's nothing interesting there, I'm just going up the stairs.
You look in. It looks like it's just another hallway, and it goes off. Like it almost looks like it's circling. So eventually, you don't see where it's going because it's going around in the corner. And on that hallway, there are closed doors. There's actually one right in front of you.
Okay, yeah, I guess I'm gonna go that way. And like as I'm going through this place, I'm also the like cartographer, so I'm also like keeping mental track so I can recreate this map later. But yeah, I'm gonna go investigate these closed doors. See, like if I also kind of want to look at the ground. Like, is there anything on the ground that suggests that there's been traffic through this area recently, like dust or is it dirt floor or something like that? Or
Go ahead and roll an investigation.
I got a 13 total.
All right, you definitely notice that there is foot traffic going to that first door. And there is a lot of dust on the ground, and further to the left, it looks like someone may have walked on the dust at some point, but there's dust on top of those footsteps, so it's been a while.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah. I guess I'm gonna go to that first door and just kind of barely, put any pressure to see if it's like locked or anything like that.
It is not locked. In fact, it's not even latched, and it opens up slightly as you push on it.
Is there any light coming out of the room?
There is light.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm gonna like slowly try to open it, not make so much noise, and kind of see if there's anybody else in here. Then.
You open the door. There is a little bit of pressure. What do you do? Almost like the hinge is stuck a little bit, like it's rusted.
Is it like, is there an opening big enough that I can kind of like just put my head in? Or
No, you noticed this before. It's maybe like 3 inches when you notice that it's kind of has resistance. Yeah.
okay. Can I like look at this like the side of the door where the hinges are and see if there's like any like wire or anything that would like think it's a trap?
Go ahead and make an investigation. The hinges are like recessed, so you don't really see the hinges themselves, but you can see the condition of the door. So go ahead and roll and see.
I got a 16 for that one. Yeah.
It looks like there might be some rust, but you don't see like any trigger traps or anything looking at the door from the side.
Okay. Then I guess if I have no reason, then I'll kind of give it a little more effort to make it so I could see inside the room. Yeah.
All right. So the door opens up. You hear a snap, and then across the way there's like a crack in the wall that's there, and there was some light, but you just suddenly hear a whole bunch of rubble falling, and the light in the hole in that crack goes out.
Okay. Is there anything in the room?
Just like a torch on the left and a torch on the right, and the like torch holders.
Okay.
They
so
also
like
do not appear to have smoke.
Okay. So it's just a hallway, and then like now there's rubble on the other side that's blocking off whatever would have been there.
Yes. Do you go investigate that?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right. So you fully walk into the room, and you go to the crack. It's definitely large enough for someone to go through. You kind of look in. It looks like it's almost like some rocks fell down, but there's definitely some chiseling around it, so it looks like it was like some kind of ruin that was widened a little bit. And the hole, if you kind of peer in, it's just like rock and dirt, but it definitely has like chisel marks and stuff like that, like it's been widened. but you also see there's a bunch of rubble blocking the way now.
Okay, but there's like more area that could be explored if we eventually move this rubble.
Yeah.
Okay, and is there any sign of any footprints again, or any sign that anyone has been here recently or could have caused this?
You definitely see the footprints from the outside continuing to where this hole was, and the room seems less dusty, and people walk into the lights and stuff like that, but it doesn't really look like they walk to them too much. There's still dust in the corners, so you kind of see where people worn their way a path with no dust. So it doesn't look like this room is used much more than just a passageway.
Is there any reason to believe that there's more than one creature that's been here?
Go ahead and roll a or investigation again.
That one's a 5.
You can't really tell. It does seem to be heavily trafficked. There's no you can't really tell a number. It's just kind of dust free.
Okay, then I will take that back information I've gathered back to the main room with them.
All right. Lawrence is still mapping out the area. It was pretty quick. It only took you a couple minutes to go in there and find that out. I guess I should say that everyone else also hears the rocks fall, which happened 20 seconds ago, I guess. We'll say.
And as I kind of walk in, I'll be like, well, I'd be careful about going any further exploring. It looks like this place is either trapped or really badly held together. Can't quite distinguish which. And either this guy moves around a lot because I see a lot of traffic, or there's more than one person here that we should be worried about, in which case I imagine they also heard that rumble.
Thank you for that. Josh, what have I been able to determine from inspecting this?
We'll go ahead and roll a knowledge arcana check.
12.
So there's no indication of any language. There are some symbols, but they don't seem to translate to a language. So they're probably just decorative. Each portal seems to have like a mosaic kind of line that goes to the center dais in the middle of the room. And there's like a symbol on the ground that for each one of there's 10 symbols, 2 that lead to the really big portal, and then 8 that lead to the smaller portals. And the dais doesn't seem to have any words on it. It also has like a cloth on it and some random alchemy supplies and stuff, tubes and stuff. And you've mapped it out and you've written it down, but that's about all you found. So Lance, you're still with the goblin?
Yes, I've still got the goblin.
He doesn't seem to really be that scared of this area, but he definitely looks like he wants to leave because he's tied up and he doesn't want to be here. But he doesn't actually look like he was scared like you thought he was when he was on the other side.
I see.
Did you want to try and interrogate him again? Because you were with him for a few minutes. If there's anything else you wanted to do with him,
I just ask him what all of this is, and if he has anything to do with it.
All right. You can either roll a diplomacy, or if you're trying to intimidate the answers out of him, in intimidation.
I'll try persuasion this time. Maybe thinking a softer approach will work. That's going to be a 20.
You seem to calm him down a little bit. He's pretty hesitant about talking about it. Well, this is where I live, and can you let me go? We're not doing anything to hurt you. I'm not doing anything to hurt you. He made a slip up saying, there are other people here, basically.
Yeah, what do you mean we? Are there others?
He looks like he didn't want to say that, like it was an accident. And he's like, Looks like his eyes are racing. He's trying to think of something. Then off in the distance, you hear like a bunch of rumbling, like a cave in or something like that off in the distance. And you see him kind of like relax a little bit and seem like he's made a decision. It's like, nope, I'm alone now. I'm alone. There's no one else here.
It's like, so what? So what was that noise that just happened?
I don't know. It's an old ruin. Anything could have happened.
Another one of your traps?
I didn't. I don't know. Go ahead and roll a persuasion again.
21.
No, they left me. They're gone now.
Who are they?
Oh, my boss. He's like my boss, and I do his thing. I do what he asked me to do, and then I guess he's going to abandon me. So he's mean. I don't know.
If you sounds like you don't like this boss very much. So why are you protecting him?
Oh, it's not him that I'm worried about. It's his boss.
Your boss is boss.
He can't put his hands to his face, but he's going to. But he's tied up. He looks like he is shocked that he said anything, and he clams up again.
Why don't we go meet your boss, or your boss's boss, or your boss's boss's boss?
He's
However deep this thing goes.
just shaking his head. He looks a little frightened.
I think we need to speak to your manager.
I'm so disappointed right now.
I have to say it. Alright, which way will we go? Should we go towards the noise we just heard?
Yeah, let's see if we can figure that out, what that was.
Figure out anything about the portals and how they work in your studies?
There's symbols, but they don't match any language that my magic can deduce. I'm not really sure what they mean.
Alright, I just take Marshmallow with me and head towards the noise that we heard.
Okay.
If we have more time later, I can try to identify them. That'll take me another. I'm not sure if it's 10 minutes each. I think it's 10 minutes each, but it might be 10 minutes total to ritual cast identify.
Are you going to be doing that, or are you going to be following them?
No, let's come back to that later if we have the time. I feel like the cave-in noise is more urgent.
Okay. So, Yulian, I'm guessing you show them where the noise came from?
Yeah. I tell them that if you go through this doorway, there's some rubble that fell that just kind of blocked us off from another area. I'm sure Lance, in his strong muscles, could definitely move that. I'm also going to plan to go upstairs and make sure nothing's surprising us.
Okay. So while Lawrence and Lance are shown the room, you're looking at, you go through to the hallway into the room, and then you see the crevice that's open in the wall, and it looks like just a bunch of rocks have caved in from up atop. For in the tunnel. While you're looking at that, Julian goes to look up the stairs. You walk around up the stairs, and this is only maybe 20, 30 feet around the corner, and it's kind of following the contours of the main room with the gates, so it's circling upwards. And then you come to a sheer wall of rock that is a gem. Do you have any knowledge about geology or anything like that? If not, you can make a unskilled intelligence check.
Natural 20 with -1. But
All right. So this wall of rock is actually an uncommon gemstone. Legend has it that when the breaking happened, Holgrand, his heart exploded, and these are pieces of his heart that litter the world. And so this is used in a holiday. You kind of like give it to your loved one if you can afford it. You know, kind of like a "I love you" token, because the love between Holgren and his partner. So it's very uncommon to see it here because it's shearing off a step. It's definitely not part of the building. It's almost like something shot up through the ground and is now blocking the passageway. And it has mining marks on it, so it looks like someone was trying to mine it to remove it, but it's not. Doesn't go anywhere.
So it's like a whole wall of this rock material.
Yeah.
Okay, so nothing's probably coming down here. Okay.
Yeah, doesn't look like it's no one's coming from up there unless they're digging from behind or something.
Okay. Then yeah, I'll go back to rejoin my party members and tell them about that.
All right, perfect. All right, so you guys are just kind of like, it looks like a tunnel that collapsed. I don't know what you want to do about the tunnel, if anything.
Should we try? Should we try and move the rocks?
Josh, how extensive does the collapse look?
It doesn't look like there's. It's pretty extensive. There's no light from the other side. You don't know if there would be light from the other side. Oh wait, no, because you only did see that there was light in the tunnel while it was collapsing, and it cut off the light. So there is something beyond the tunnel, but it is pretty extensive. But you don't see any boulders that you couldn't personally move.
Like, how long would that task take us if we spent the time on it?
Don't really know because you can't see the end.
Like, more than an hour? Like,
Yeah, probably.
okay.
It would take some time.
I guess I'll just I hand Marshmallow to one of you guys, and I just pull up my sleeves, and I was like, "Oh, nothing for it," and then I just start moving the rocks.
All right. Does anyone help? What's everyone else do?
There's still those other rooms that just didn't have as much traffic to explore, right, though?
Yeah.
That? Okay. If you want to watch Marshmallow, you can have him, or I could just bring him with me through random rooms.
I can hold on to him.
Okay.
Also, if you don't mind a tag along, I can send my owl with you. And at this point, I bamf out a gray owl familiar.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry,
you
I'm
can
answering
tag along. I'll take it.
So I can watch through her eyes and periodically, and if anything's about to happen, we can come to your aid.
Sounds good to me.
Are you going to, Lawrence? Are you going to be helping move the rock while this happens, or just watching?
I'll give what help I can. I'm not the strongest person out there. And I'm like, every few minutes, I'm going to shift my perception to familiar vision so that I can see through her eyes for a little bit.
All right. Helping will help. Lance can fit in there, and he can move rocks back, but you would probably need to move them into the room. So it's definitely a two-person job, makes it a lot easier. So Cormac, go ahead and make a strength check. So you have advantage.
Yeah, I did my 2 rolls and I got a 17.
All right. So it will take you some time. So we'll figure out how long. It'll take about 2 hours before you hit something. Do you continue for 2 hours? It's only like 11 o'clock in the morning, so.
If it seems to be taking upwards of an hour or two, I'm going to spend 10 minutes to ritual cast an unseen servant and get that to help us out.
Okay. What's the strength on that? Do you know?
2
All right. Well, it
Total
helps.
or modifier?
total, 2.
Oh Lord. Okay.
So what help it can provide.
All right. So while you're doing that, there's a lot to explore. So go ahead and going to kind of summarize this a little bit, so I don't describe every room. Go ahead and make a perception check and an investigation check.
Does this qualify as the Underdark? I
No.
don't know.
It was just to identify a stone that would be that you would have known about.
Perception is 17, and investigation's gonna be 9.
So, 9 investigation. Okay. So you look around. There are a lot of doors. It seems to circle the whole entire complex. So we're talking 30 doors. So there's 30 rooms. They seem to be, most of them seem to have like beds and chests and stuff like that. A lot of the chests seems to people have gone through them. They seem to be like kind of like a barracks.
Mhm.
The wood is like dilapidated and molding, like really not molding because there's no moisture, but really dry and crumbly. And some beds are falling apart and stuff like that. You don't see anything of note, but some of the chests seem to not be open,
I like
dimension-wise.
trying to investigate the chests and see if they're locked or, of course, for traps.
Uh, you find 3 chests that don't seem like they have disintegrated, and they seem to be locked. And go ahead and roll to see if you find any traps.
That's gonna be a 6er, Captain.
All right, you don't see that they're trapped, but they all appear to be locked.
Okay. I would like to try and open them, and I do have these tools for that.
All right, go ahead and make 3 checks. We'll just roll them all at once.
Got 19, so 24 total for the first one, 12 for the second, and 9 for the last.
So you're able to open the first 2. So the first one you open up, you find a bunch of like moldy, mothy clothing infested with moths and kind of disintegrated. You reach in there, and they kind of just fall apart. But you do find a leather bag with 20 silver in it on the first one. The second one, you find 3 bags with a total of 72 gold. Yeah, and the third one is locked and you can't get into it.
Report my findings back to the party while they're doing that, and then if I have any free time, I'll go ahead and begin creating an actual map of this place.
All right. Unless anyone's doing anything else. Andrew, oh yeah, unseen servant. That's what you're doing. So about 2 hours pass. You're able to do a rough map of the hallway and the rooms. So there are 30, and it goes around, and you think it circles almost all the way around. So you might be able to like break into one of the rooms by breaking into the room that you first went into. Like they might be attached, but you'd have to break the room down to find out. But that's what you kind of figure out with the structure. You don't know what's upstairs, obviously. So about 2 hours later, it looks like you're breaking through into daylight. And you're finding wooden beams and stuff. You went past just the rubble, and it looks like you're getting into some kind of building material. About 2 hours in, and then you kind of peek through, and you can see some sky. That's what Lance sees. So a little bit more wiggling, and you can get through.
All right, I let everyone know that I think I'm pretty much through, and I keep clearing it away, and I try to squeeze myself through.
It doesn't take too much longer, but you get through and you kind of dust yourself off, stand up, and look around. It looks like there was a hovel here that was leaned up against a rock face, and it looks like it collapsed. So not a very big room or not a very big place, but it looks like it also collapsed, and it wasn't just the hallway. And looking out, you're kind of like on the top of a hill. Behind you is like a big spike of rock that goes up a couple 100 feet and is very round that the building seems to be in. And this rock doesn't look like the rock around it, so it looks like this might have been a world-ending, like earth-shattering, like spike of earth that went through a couple 100 years ago. It's very obvious. Then it's this big valley, and you look around. There's corpse of trees in forest areas off in the distance. But it's a big valley, and then everyone else kind of squeezes behind you and comes out, I guess.
I'm gonna summon my owl back from Ulian, and
Okay.
I'm gonna send her up above us and fly around in a little brief search pattern of the area. I'm trying specifically to see if I can determine where we are by like the climate and the plants we see, and if there's any landmarks other than that big rock spire you mentioned.
Okay, go and roll perception for your animal companion or familiar.
22.
Oh, okay. So looking around, it's a think that you might be identify a mountain range that you saw when you first crested the hill earlier today. Hundreds of miles off in the distance. So you're not exactly sure where you are, but you think that if that mountain range is what you think it is, you could plot a course home, but you don't know how long it would take. Additionally, you see some wagon tracks that disappear into a forest a little ways away that seems to have came from your location. There are ruins throughout the valley. Most of them are covered by trees, but there's ruins every direction you go to. You think some of them might be inhabited, but there's one. Let's see, to the west. That's kind of covered with trees, but it doesn't look like it matches ruins. It kind of looks like there might be a modern or a village there, but you don't see anyone walking around because, well, it's really high up in those trees. So, but you see the buildings through the trees, and that's probably like 4 or 5 hours away if you walked.
Well, this has developed interestingly. What does Marshmallow think of this?
He doesn't really say much. You drag him, or you kind of have to drag him through, unless you cut him free and you trust him. You drag him through the rocks to get him out there. You can let me go now. I can go home.
Is this your home?
It's not far away. A couple days.
Is this where your boss lives too?
He kind of looks back at the rubble that was a hovel. It's like, that's where my boss lived.
I kind of look at that and I'm just like, oh, well, oops.
He left me to die, so.
Suppose that's what happened earlier. They got spooked by our entrance, so then they're at least 2 hours ahead of us by these wagon tracks.
Probably, he shrugs.
I don't know, Marshmallow. I don't have any intention of, hurting you. We just want to make sure everything's safe before we let you go.
Everything's safe. We didn't even know you're up there. Continue on. I can go now, right?
Do you know what's beyond that giant rock wall up the stairs?
No, we gave up. It didn't matter to us. I mean, no.
There's that word again. Us. So what is over there?
Over where?
On the other side of that rock there.
Don't know. Didn't go there. We gave up. Didn't matter to us. I don't know.
Alright, you need to take us to where the rest of them are.
If I take you to where everyone else is, I'm going to die, so I'm not going to do that.
Why would you die?
Because they don't know you.
If you show up with outsiders, they're going to kill you.
Well, yeah, because it's like a secret. And if I gave you up my secrets, I would die. I've probably already told you too much.
Why? What are you guys doing
Well-
here?
Collecting slime.
Well, surely you can vouch for us. I mean, we are friends now, right?
No, we're not friends.
Like,
Untied up.
like from his answer about that slime thing, like, is there any insight we have to like how much of the answer that is? You know, kind of like what like there's a meme where it's like, what do you have there? And it's like a whole like fire going on behind him, and he's like holding a sandwich. He's like, I just have a sandwich. Like, is he telling us? Well, it's like, is that all they're doing here is collecting slime, or can we tell that there's obviously something else?
Go ahead and roll an insight check.
I got a 9. I don't know if anybody else is interested in that, but
Yeah, anyone can roll. I
got
mean, you're
the
all there for the conversation.
I got the same thing.
Okay.
nice.
11.
He seems to be not hiding anything. He's like, yeah, we were collecting slime. That's what we're doing.
Okay, I'm calling a huddle with everyone except Marshmallow.
Okay.
All right.
Team huddle.
He's tied up. He can't go anywhere, but we need to be out of earshot.
Gotcha.
Okay, so does any of us know anything about tracking?
Pretty good at exploring terrain, but I mean, it's pretty easy to track, I think, so far because they took a cart, so we can at least track that as far as we can if we wanted to. They're at least 2 hours ahead of us, though.
I was going to propose we just let Marshmallow go, give him a head start, and then just track where he goes to see who these others he keeps talking about are.
Could also probably track him with the owl.
She has a limited range where eventually I won't be able to see through her eyes or talk to her.
The only thing I'm concerned about is he said days to get to wherever he's going. Are we that committed to following him?
Well, I guess the question is, do we follow wherever he goes, or do we just follow these, what is it? There's like wagon tracks here or something?
Yeah, the bird spotted some wagon tracks that led from here.
Okay, do we follow those tracks? Do we follow Marshmallow? Do we want to continue dragging poor Marshmallow with us, or do we just cut him loose?
First of all, I think we should cut him loose. He's not really a threat to us anymore.
Yeah.
We could see if he follows the wagon or if he goes a different route before we decide what we're gonna do in that regard.
Yeah. I can agree to that. I honestly don't want to kill Marshmallow.
Okay, sounds good to me. Alright, I walk up to Marshmallow and I just pull out a knife.
He looks terrified.
I reach down, I grab him, I take the knife, and I just cut his bonds.
You pick him up. He's like screams a little, but then you cut him through, and like, whew, you see relief in his eyes as he falls to the ground. Thanks. Goodbye.
I just say, "You're free. Go on. Thank you for your service."
And he kind of he does walk away. Kind of looks back, and then continues on walking away from you, and kind of quickly.
Is he going towards the wagon tracks?
Yes, but mainly because at this point, it's the only way down the hill. It's the only obvious way down the hill unless you went off the side.
Okay.
Do you have the bird follow him, or?
The bird only works out to 100 feet. After that, I lose contact with her, and she's just an owl. It's up to you whether I can command her to follow him long distance, and then she comes back and tells me what she saw.
I don't think a few miles would be inappropriate for a familiar.
Okay, then I will go with that.
Right? She flies out. It's what 2 miles is what 40 minutes, 20 minutes.
If you're
I've
walking,
never actually
yeah.
timed myself walking a mile.
I would say you could probably like walk a mile in like 15, 16 minutes, you know?
Okay. After About 20 minutes. He's obviously following the tracks. He is following the wagon tracks.
Shall we proceed?
Josh, what time of day do we think it is?
Early afternoon.
At what point do we want to go back through the portal and check in with the town? Because we could post some guards like overnight and come back and do this tomorrow, or we could keep going on for now.
The only thing I'm worried about going back to the portal and leaving this area is that someone, like, my theory is that those other portals could be activated and only one of them can be at a time. So I'm worried about the portal not being there when we come back.
That's fair. So what if we sent word back to the town and then immediately come back through? So we're still here, and then we can like camp or something on this side if we're going to be a while.
It should be noted that, like, you guys have some of your stuff on you, but most of your stuff is back at the other place. You might have your weapons and armor and stuff like that, but you left your traveling gear with the wagon because you weren't expecting to travel. You literally fell down a hole in the middle of a tour.
That's
so
fair.
You don't have everything that you would normally have.
Okay. I don't know. One of us can stay here while the others go back and do the communications and gather the equipment, which I don't mind doing, because if anything shows up, I'm pretty good at not being found.
That's fair.
What do you think, Lance?
Okay, we can do that.
All right. So Willie and Sue is back, and you two go back through the portal. The portal is still there, so you're able to go back through the portal. Wilkins goes with you. So you're there by your lonesome, Julian. So you climb back up. You're in the cellar now. You two and Wilkins. What do you do from there?
Just like a side note before that, if I can, I just kind of just want to be watching that entrance that I know is the only way in so far, and do like a resting trance thing.
Lance and Lawrence, you walk out of the cellar after crawling back up. Brevin, he kind of looks at you like, what have you been doing? It's not that interesting down there.
Actually, quite the opposite.
Down there much. It's like we found a trap door that led us to a goblin. The goblin had a bunch of portals that we went through, and there was a whole other world down there. You need to get out more.
He raises an eyebrow. He doesn't seem to believe you. Sounds like you're drinking my stash.
Promise you that I have not gotten into your stash yet.
Well, I guess technically it's your stash. You own this place.
You know it. We were just coming back to report on our findings. But you're welcome to come down there and see for yourself. There's all kinds of crazy crap down there.
Not my place anymore. Have fun on your adventures in the cellar. He goes back to cleaning the glass. It obviously doesn't need to be cleaned anymore.
Nothing phases this guy, does it?
All right, Josh, I'm going to go find Vergus.
Actually, the Major Domo was down there too, and he was waiting for you. He's like, what the god? What took you so long?
So we seem to have uncovered a lair with a portal that led a little ways away from here. We're going to go investigate it further. But we wanted to check in and gather some more of our equipment first.
Huh. Well, I didn't finish my tour.
I think under the circumstances that can wait just a little bit.
He seems exasperated, but he nods in agreement. Fine.
How about we give you a tour?
I'm not climbing down there. That's dirty.
Suit yourself. It really is something else.
All right, Andrew, you wanted to go find Vergus?
Yes, the real quick, based on that mountain range I recognized, What's my best guess for how far the other side of the portal is from here?
Hundreds of miles.
Tomorrow, if I were to cast the Skywrite spell, is that too far away for anybody to be able to see a bunch of stuff written in the clouds that says, hey, we're here?
You're unsure.
So it's not worth planning on it?
It could possibly work. Depends on how high up the clouds are, how the weather, and then you're not sure about the distance. But if it's only a couple hundred miles, actually no, you probably wouldn't see it because of the curvature of the world. So yeah, you probably wouldn't work if it's hundreds of miles away.
Okay, good deal. So yeah, I'm gonna go pull Virgus aside if I can find him.
He doesn't seem to be in the tavern, and you have never been in this building. Major Domo looks at you like, can I help you? Because you're also looking around.
Yeah, I'm trying to find Master Seacole. Do you know where he went to?
Probably his room. I will show you to his room.
Thank you.
So he takes you into the facing the tavern, a left area. It says private on the door. You walk through and there's a hallway and there's rooms. He's like, your rooms are down this way, and he points to the room. This is a private dining room for you. This is I sleep here in this corridor or in this wing, and so do the clerks. He takes you to a door and knocks, and Virgus comes to the door. Yes?
Master Seacole, can I have a moment of your time? I want to tell you about what we found.
Sure. He invites you in. There's really nowhere to... There's like one chair and a desk and a bed.
Okay, Josh,
Yeah.
is Marcade the Major Domo? Is he in on this being an Adventurers Guild thing, or is he just a bar worker?
He's the Adventurers Guild representative. So he's the top guy from the Adventurers Guild that is here. It's him and the two clerks that are from the Adventurers Guild.
Is the Major Domo that guy, or is Virgus that guy?
Major Domo is Marcade. He is running this the Adventurers Guild people. He's like the head guy, kind of taking care of everything while you're adventuring. He's in on it. Virgus is one of the clerks that met you a week into your or a week ago. He is the person that was with you on the travels. There's also another clerk that you haven't met yet.
Okay, then I misunderstood you. I would be having this conversation with Marcade then, and not with Virgus.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense.
Master Guilford, so I wanted to keep you in the loop about what we found down there, because we're going to go back to investigate further.
Interesting. I didn't even know we had that, obviously.
Yeah, so we found a goblin who came through a portal from the other side. I'm not entirely sure where it is. It's several hundred miles away. I recognized a nearby mountain range. But we're going to go back through and investigate further where they came from. They were mining whole guardian stone there, but they're also doing some alchemical research. And there are a bunch of portals. I'm going to show him the diagram that I made of the portals and briefly sketch down the symbols that I found but couldn't identify.
He just looks at it like, wow, that's pretty impressive. I didn't know there were ruins under this place. In a goblin, you say? Should we be worried?
He didn't pose much of a threat to us, but he sounded concerned about his leadership, and so there might be more of them that would come back. If you could get either some bar hands or even the town guards to keep an eye on this side in case something slips past us.
We'll keep an eye, but I don't really know the town guards that well.
That's fair.
I mean, how much do you want to tell the city guard about what you found?
That's a good question. How well do you trust the guard? Like, do we need to lie to them? Or could we just tell them the truth that we found a person in there and that we found a portal in there and we're investigating it to see if it's going to be a threat to our property?
I'll leave the decision up to you ultimately, but if we're trying to keep a lower profile, telling them there's something under our house might not be the best. Because I don't trust them. If they find out that we're from the Marconian Empire and we're working for them, we'll be in trouble.
That's a good point. I'll see what Master Stormshield thinks. In the meantime, if you know anyone in this town who has access to, say, a library or some sort of research material, see if you can find out what any of those symbols mean.
I can ask around.
That'd be appreciated.
I think there is some educational library or center of learning in the city.
Okay. All right. So I'll check with Master Stormshield before we head back in to see what to tell the town.
Right.
All right, and I pull aside Lance.
So do we head back to do we head back to and meet up with Ulian?
In a moment. Master Guilford wants to know if we should clue in the local guard on what's going on. He's concerned that we don't want to give any indication of who we really work for. My concern is that if anything slips past us, it may be a threat to the town, and the guard would be upset with us if we didn't disclose that.
I agree. I think we should. I think it's actually best for the people if they know of any potential threat, no matter where it might come from.
And so you think the angle that we're property owners investigating what we found underneath our tavern is legit, or should we spin it a different way?
Well, I think it's legit that we found something underneath our own property that concerns us and might be a concern for the rest of the town. Would be selfish of us to keep it to ourselves and try to resolve it ourselves should anything go wrong.
Good point. Well, thank you. All right, and so I'm going to go relay that to Marcade.
All right, so you want Marcade to go tell them that there's a secret lair under your base with a goblin?
Yeah, that we crashed through the basement into something and we found a goblin there, and we're going to go investigate it further to make sure that it's not a threat to our tavern or to the town.
Okay, go tell someone. I don't know what they'll do.
At the least, being aware in case a bunch of goblins appear, they know what's up and what the source of it is. If worse comes to worse, somebody can collapse this side of the portal and we can make our way back to town from the other side because we know where we are, roughly.
Okay. So unless he just nods if that's the end of the conversation and says, very well, it'll be done. And he...
I think. I say thank you.
No. And he leaves to go take care of the errands that you sent him to do. It could be a while.
That's fair. So I'm going to then gather up all my things and find Lance and then head back through the portal.
All right. Wogan also gets his gear and meets you guys in the cellar when you're ready. Do you do anything else, Lance?
Nope, I just go with them.
So maybe hour. Yeah, probably just take you an hour to get all your stuff. Talk to the major domo and head down. Unless you bought extra provisions, you don't have any provisions. There was just enough for the trip, unless you bought extra. So just keep that in mind for traveling. I don't know if you bought extra rations or not.
I for free got an explorer's pack that comes with 10 days.
Gotcha.
If worst comes to worst, both Julian and I have access to Goodberry
Good point.
or nature foraging stuff.
True, I
I
do
only-
manage for that.
I only have rations for a day.
So, about an hour, Julian, nothing happens. It's pretty quiet. Do you just trance out until they're back?
Yeah, pretty much. I don't know
Okay.
how long it's gonna take, so I was gonna go for the 4 hours to see if I can get a long rest in. But if not, I don't care too much.
You don't get a long rest in, unless they want to rest with you because they're back in about an hour.
No, that's fine. I think the only person that's casted anything is I've used one slot, and I think
I've
Lance-
used one spell slot. I'll be fine until we camp for the evening.
Cool. Yeah. Then when they come back, I'm down to just start tracking.
All right, gotcha. So the tracks aren't too hard to find. And they are where you're at. The tracks seem to be. Let's see. Does anyone roll intelligence checks? I guess. Investigation. Sorry. Whoever is doing the tracking.
I get a 9.
Yeah. All right. Is anyone else tracking, or is it just?
I'm doing it. I was just reading my Explorer thing.
Okay.
So I rolled a 12, but I also get to add double my proficiency on this one, so it'd be 14.
All right. So you're able to follow the tracks pretty easily. The thing that you discover is that it's probably pretty heavy laden down with a lot of stuff. So the tracks are deeper than if it was like an empty cart sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
You track it for about 2 hours. It goes into some trees. This is where kind of lost the tracks earlier with the bird. And they go into a road. And it blends in with other tracks. If you want to try to distinguish the tracks, it will be much harder. It looks like it obviously went one direction because you can see where it turned onto the road. But go ahead and pick another investigation check.
17.
I got
Ooh.
a 21 this time.
Lawrence is able to follow the tracks. You are unable to distinguish them from other tracks, Julian.
Mhm.
But you continue following them, and it's dusk-ish. Probably maybe like an hour more of light when you finally hit something. You find a town.
It's the
And
one that he saw from the original leaving point, like that we saw through the trees.
yeah.
Okay.
Alright, so you go into the town, you don't see anything too abnormal. It seems like a regular village. But you notice that there's a goblin that comes out of a house, and they kind of look over at you. It's a female goblin. She doesn't seem to run away, but she does go back into the house kind of quickly, like, ooh, there's someone there, I don't want to be here. And then closes the door. Do you proceed into the town? This is like the first house that you saw at the edge of the town on the road.
I think we should go towards it.
I say go into the town. Given that it was late afternoon before we went back to Ermios, we can just like look for an inn for now. See what this place is.
Yeah.
Right. You walk further into town, and there are more houses, and looks like maybe a shop. You do see what might be an inn, but the most surprising thing you see is where there would be normally humans, dwarves, gnomes, stuff like that. You mostly see goblins. They're clothed like they would be in a or what you'd expect in a civilization setting. There's little kids playing around, kicking a ball. They're goblin children. There's some orcs walking around, but it's mostly goblins. People notice you, and no one tries to confront you. Most people are just kind of like, "Ooh, there's people," and then they walk away and kind of try to ignore you. A lot of people go into their town or into their houses. Um, as you walk in, a group of kids run up to you, and they're giggling and they're like poking you. All right, and you can react now.
Hey, what? Get out of here.
Okay. I'm going to druid craft a flower and hand it to one of the kids.
He's like, "Oh my god!" He didn't say "Oh my god," but he's like ecstatic and like, pretty happy, and they're all oohed and awed, and they're really impressed. One girl, little girl, not really sure how old she is, but she kind of like tugs on your pants. Lawrence, are you a human?
Why, yes. Very bright of you to be able to tell. What's your name?
They all kind of giggle when you say yes, I am a human. Like L'Oreal.
It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm Lawrence. This is Ulian and Lance. I give her a flower too.
She takes it, giggles, and runs away. They all kind of run away, looking at the flowers and stuff. Do you do anything after the kids
start.
kind of go away?
Follow the temple and pull out a lightsaber.
What?
Sorry.
It's all right.
Well, this town's clearly not hostile.
Yeah, that's a good sign. We'd have to find, I don't know, maybe someone that's not too scared to talk to us, though. That isn't a child.
Josh, you said there's a building that we think is an inn.
Yeah, it's not too far away.
Let's go check that out.
So you start walking further into the town towards the inn, and a goblin that you think is an older goblin. He's dressed pretty nicely, but simply. He has two goblins walking behind him. They're wearing cudgels on their belt, but they're not like raised. They're not wearing any armor or anything like that. They look like peasant folk, but they are armed. And the goblin comes up and raises his hand like, "Hello! I've not seen your like here, and we have not seen your like for many generations."
Nice to meet you. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Lance Stormshield. And I introduce my companions.
I am the mayor of this town, Kraken.
Kraken?
What brings you to our area?
Well, it's a funny story. We were in our hometown, actually in the tavern that we are the proprietors of, and we went down into the basement, and there just happened to be a portal down there that brought us here. Isn't that the craziest thing?
He looks dubious. Yes, very interesting way to be here. You look like pretty hardy folk. Are you adventurers?
Indeed we are.
Hmm.
Perhaps you have heard of my many exploits. Lance proceeds to point to his various badges and explains what each one he got for and all of his acts of valor, and that he's actually quite a big deal. No, really.
He patiently listens, unless no one interrupts. You get to go through your whole entire spiel this time.
I will
He,
interrupt
he's
now hearing this for the fourth time today. Like,
That's
while he's
fair,
talking, I
that's fair.
eventually go like, long story short.
all right. So the goblin goes, You sound very impressive. Do your companions have similar feats of daring?
Well, I'm sure I'm sure they have their merits as well, but clearly, and referring to all my badges and their lack of badges, like implying that they're not on my level.
Did anyone else say anything else before he continues? Before the goblin continues?
Oh, I'm not one to boast. I'm a research fellowship at the Hadabrandian University. Nothing on the level of Master Stormshield here.
Goblin looks a little disappointed. Well, maybe. He seems to be uncertain about something.
Is there something you need help with?
You look like very strapping, strong, much bigger than me people, and we do have a little problem that we can't seem to take care of. I would greatly appreciate any help you could give us. We don't usually get
Of
adventurers out this
course,
far.
it is a soldier's duty to protect the weak. Wait, what is your issue? And I will vanquish it with my blade.
There is a den of kobolds that keep harassing us and stealing our stuff, and last month they even killed someone. And we just came to take care of them. And we would greatly appreciate if you could stop the attacks and help us, because who knows what these crazy kobolds are going to do next time. They might just start killing us, and I just don't know how to deal with it.
Say no more. Just point us in the direction of their den and we'll take care of it. Right, men? I said,
Have
right?
you tried talking to them at all yet?
Yes, that's the person they killed was our messenger.
Oh, right on. Okay, just thought I would.
So I don't think they want to talk with us.
One of the highest acts of treachery one can commit is executing a messenger.
Before these raids, had your town had any contact with them?
They've always been there, but it's only been in the last couple years that they've bothered us, really. Right. Everyone can make an insight check.
I got an 18.
8.
I have a 6. I take this guy at whatever word he tells me.
All right, so, everyone but Julian there, is a little dubious about the claim that the messenger died, or maybe that there was a messenger. It didn't seem like he was being truthful, but you're not exactly sure what part of that story was truthful about the messenger being killed. I mean, we can offer you some gold. We have a little bit of gold.
What was the message that the messenger was carrying?
Hey, stop attacking us. What do you need? Maybe we can barter. What's going on? We haven't had any formal relationship with them in a long time.
Did you send the messenger by himself?
Everyone make an insight check.
12.
22.
I'm gonna go ahead and stick with my consistent 6.
Well, he says, yeah, we sent him alone. We didn't think that they were going to kill him. That was crazy. So everyone except, Lawrence believes that it is, in fact, true that they sent the person alone. You're unsure of that, Lawrence. You're not sure they sent them alone.
Interesting. Well, I look at the others and say, well, I believe we would be willing to look into this for you. Yes.
Of course, yeah.
Excellent. He claps his hands in front of him. Excellent. We can I can describe how to get there, and he kind of describes, you go down this road, you see this distinctive tree, you take right, you kind of follow this brook, and then you follow it to an outcropping of rocks, and you go left about a mile.
Sounds great. We just need a place to stay because it's pretty dark.
I'm sure the inn can accommodate you. We have tall folk come through every once in a while, and orcs, and points over to the orcs that are like over that way, like at a shop, and sometimes hobgoblins. And anyways, yeah, they're human-sized beds in there. I should probably introduce you though. People are pretty shy around here.
That would be appreciated.
He
Perhaps I say perhaps if you can arrange for us to be put up for the night, and then past that, whatever sum you feel is appropriate, as payment for this job.
Okay. He looks back at the other two people that were following him, and they kind of waves them away, and they go back to wherever they were going down the road. Look like they're going somewhere, but you're not sure where. He's like, "Follow me," and then he walks over to where you guys thought was the tavern/inn, and he walks in. Mostly, goblins in this establishment. It is probably like 2/3 full. There's 6 tables, a little fire. It's pretty well lit. It's clean. There is a orc behind the counter. The mayor walks over and goes, "We're going to put these fellows up. I'll cover the costs. They're going to be here for at least tonight. Room and board. Just add it to my tab. Adventurers, this is Ulog. He'll take care of
Hello.
your meal plans."
I nod to him.
Nice to meet you.
He nods back. He seems to have a cheerful disposition for an orc. Not that you've probably had too much dealings with orcs. But it seems kind of cheerful. And like, "Hello, you're humans, aren't you?
How could you tell?
Kind of. Yeah.
You're pink. You're not a human. What are you?" Points over at Julian. You look different.
Me, I'm just happy to be here. That's what I am.
He looks a little disappointed by your answer. Well, dinner's ready whenever. You can take a seat, and we'll get you some food. And I can show you to your room if you want to go there now. You're going to have to share rooms. I think I only have room for 2 rooms right now.
Sure.
Well, well, that won't be a problem. I'll take the one room, you two take the others. That'll work.
I don't need to sleep, so.
I'll make do.
So he shows you some stairs, and it goes up to the 2nd story, which is about half the size of the building. Like, shows you to a room at the end of a hallway. There's, like one on the left, one on the right. Take your pick. They're basic wooden doors. You're like, "Come down when you're ready to eat," and then he walks away.
That guy knows a thing or two about hospitality. I say we hire him to replace Brett.
Did we see what else is in this town?
It seemed like a simple village. It looked like there was mostly houses, but there seemed to be one like mercantile shop. Um, one that was kind of an open air. It looked like it might be a bakery or some kind of food stall, but it's really just a generic or a town that has no notable features, nothing out of the ordinary other than it's goblins and orcs. And I guess I should note in this setting there are like orcs and half orcs that or live in the empire that you come from that are normal, but it's very abnormal, and this is very unheard of still. To have like a group of goblins like this in a village like this, so that is unusual, but not completely out of the realm of possibility for the setting.
Is that because they're typically live underground, or because like their culture isn't at the technology level where they build cities?
Both. They're more demonized and just killed in the Empire a couple hundred years ago, so they're not like. So yeah, it's basically a different. It's a cultural difference mostly, and they're goblins and orcs usually hiding on the outreaches of civilization. So I guess the biggest thing would probably be cultural difference. They choose to not live like this. So what do you do for the rest of the evening?
Uh, I don't think I do. I don't think I do anything now, because we're heading out on this quest tomorrow, right?
Is there any way like I can
I can barely hear
spend
you
some
now.
time trying to find Marshmallow?
Oh, marshmallow. Yeah. Um, do you ask people about marshmallow?
100% yes.
Okay. Um,
You just ask, "Where's Marshmallow?" and they're like, "Who?"
what is a marshmallow?
And then I
Who do you
give a
ask? Do you
description.
go to the tavern? Do you go outside?
I guess I would start with Ulog and also kind of like ask if he knows anything about this weird base with portals, or anyone that would employ goblins to go through portals and collect slime.
Okay. You go back downstairs where Ulog is. You ask him, and he's like, that sounds really strange. That sounds like adventurous stuff. I don't know. I have never heard of anything like that. There are a lot of ruins around here, though. We don't usually explore them. Not very adventurous, I guess. But over the generations, they have been explored, but I've never heard anything like that, no.
And you guys said we're like the first adventures you've seen in a while?
Yeah. First humans they've seen in generations. Um,
Humans, but there are other adventurers.
yeah. They're just not around here.
Do you know anyone that would have high magical abilities?
Mm, there are places where people use magic, but it's not very common around here.
Yeah, I guess I'm just looking for like a high level of magic adventurer, maybe. Do you know if anybody was going around looking for goblins to go into like a mining expedition at all?
Not that I'm aware of, but I'm not really. We're pretty out of the way here,
Yeah,
so we
that's a
don't
good
really
sign.
deal much with other people. We get the occasional person that comes through. We're in a little bit of a trade route, but we don't get very much information out here.
Do you do you know anyone who might know more, or do you recognize this goblin? And I give Marshmallow's description.
No, not sure I've seen anyone like that. No, but it's not the best description. Actually, go ahead and make a roll to see how descriptive you can be. Intelligence check.
I got a 2. I
Yeah,
would
what
like
he
to
said
draw
is
a
correct.
I would
You're
like
like,
to draw a stick figure and then carry that around town and saying, "Have you seen Marshmallow?" and pointing to my stick figure.
basically you're able to give a description that basically you described what a goblin looks like, but not a distinctive goblin.
Yeah, yeah. He had green skin. His ears were a little bit larger. Pointing at the, they're like, yeah, that's like everyone here. Yeah,
Yeah, Ulog gives you a little weird look, like, hmm.
that's fair. That's fair. Well, I'm gonna go keep asking random people that are outside at midnight these questions.
Okay, well, it's not that late yet.
Okay.
Go ahead and do a carousing check, I guess, in the bar, asking around. I guess that'd be investigation. No, diplomacy. What's the skill in this edition? Oh my god, persuasion.
That's gonna be 14.
They do note you do find out that there was a wagon that came through. And there hasn't been a wagon for a couple of days. You did find that after the wagon came, a goblin walked through town, but he didn't really stay. He went to the mercantile store, and then he came out with a shirt on, and then left the town
That's
because he
much
did
more
not have a shirt. That was a
Do
little
you
weird.
know?
People were like, "That's weird," but they didn't really question him. They just left him alone.
Is there any like other towns where that cart would be headed to?
Well, I mean, there's the next village over, but that's a day, and I guess a big city that's probably about 4 or 5 days away. I mean, that's the usual trade route, just kind of people going through the villages to collect things and sell them at the market.
I'm gonna take that information, go back to the uh, area where my companions are, and then I guess if there's nothing else we're gonna do, I'll just trance and take a rest.
All right. So do you guys do anything for the rest of the night? Do you go down and eat or anything, or do you stay in your rooms?
I go eat
I
actually.
guess I will go into the cabin area and just like eat, of course, and see what the scene is like.
All right. So you sit down, you guys get your own table. Unless you want to sit with a bunch of goblins. They bring you some food. It's very simple. Like you're not sure what kind of meat it is, but it's red, and it kind of tastes like cow, but don't really know. You assume it's cow, but you didn't see them having any cows in the village.
I don't question it.
Hmm.
I don't question it. I just dig in.
Okay.
How does it taste? Is it delicious?
Yeah, it tastes pretty good.
Fuck yeah.
It's not the worst food you've had. There's some cheese. There is, if you drink, you can have water, and there is an alcoholic beverage that they say is called squeal, but they don't seem to have like ale. Their ale is called squeal. Do you drink any of that?
I try some of it.
Okay.
I'm not gonna have any because I need to be sharp tomorrow.
Okay. It tastes like a really bad IPA. The goblins seem to love it though.
I politely drink one of it, 1 cup or whatever of it.
Do you guys stay past dinner? Do you guys visit with anyone? I'm just trying to see how late you stay out.
A little bit past dinner, how are the locals acting towards us?
They are looking at you and they are talking and whispering. The longer you stay there, the less whispering there is, and the more it goes back to casual looks but distinctive like barroom chatter.
Do they all look like, say, farmers that live here and stick around here? Or does anybody look like they're, say, traveling merchant or a bard or something like that? Someone who's been around?
No, they look mostly like farmer, local village folk. That there's nothing distinctive that would say that they're from somewhere else. There's no one that appears to be richer than anyone else or anything like that, or any distinctive hierarchy. So how late do you guys stay out?
Probably not that.
All right.
Probably mingle with a few people just a little bit casually, but then probably excuse myself to make sure that we're all properly rested for tomorrow's mission.
I'm gonna, if I see Ulog not being busy for a little bit, I'm gonna go chat with him, like ask him what news there is, anything noteworthy being going on here in town or in the area. Just kind of small talk stuff.
Okay. And for what are you doing for the evening? Yulian, did you?
I kind of went on my little adventure, and then I had the food, and then I just kind of went to my little trance state for the next 4 hours.
All right, gotcha. Okay, so you kind of chat for a little while with people. They're kind of standoffish. I'm talking to Lance, and you don't. I mean, they're friendly, but they're not overly friendly. I guess is the best way to put it. So they'll do casual conversation and they'll be curious about you, but they don't really pry.
I tell them about all my exploits and point out all of my many badges.
For a while, people are interested, but then people sort of realize that you go on and on and on, and they kind of lose uh, concentration on your stories. But they are entertained for a while.
I don't notice. I'm just wrapped up in how awesome I am.
Talking to Ulog, Lawrence, the only real news is is that the kobolds are causing a problem, and they're stealing stuff and harassing the village, and they're just a menace.
Does his story line up with the mayor's, or do I notice any discrepancies?
It lines up pretty well, except he leaves out anything about people being killed. So
I ask him if anyone's been killed on either side of the conflict.
no, not that I'm aware of. I mean, they've just been annoying, and I don't know, there was a scuffle, but no one died.
Interesting. Do you know anyone who's been hurt, or do you know anyone who's personally been a victim of it, or is it just people in town in general?
It's just people in town in general, and farmers having their things stolen. So some of our herd was taken.
Interesting.
Happens on a weekly basis almost nowadays. They didn't used to cause any problems. Something needs to be done. That mayor is worthless. Pays his bill though.
That's why we're here tonight.
Really?
Why do you think he put us up for the evening?
Because it's unusual to have humans, and we haven't seen them for a long time. They are just kind of like a local curiosity.
Oh, that's fair. I never thought of it that way.
That's about all the information he has about the kobolds.
Okay.
So unless anyone does anything else that night, you wake up in the morning or come out of a trance, depending on who you are.
I'm gonna change up my prepared spells, but I'm not doing anything noteworthy beyond that.
Okay. So you get up, gather your stuff, go downstairs, have breakfast, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
After when you're eating, the mayor comes in, all bright, bushy-eyed, and he goes, "So you're gonna go take care of the kobolds?"
We are here to take care of the kobolds.
Most excellent. You ready to go on your adventure to kill the kobolds?
Don't. Okay, we're ready to go on the adventure. Let's not be hasty though. Kill is such a strong word. We'd be happy. We'd be happy to look into this for you and find a solution to your problem.
He
that-
looks super disappointed.
Okay, we're adventurers. We're not murderers. If these people are completely unreasonable and bloodthirsty, and they're a threat to the lives of everyone, then there's not much we can do.
Excellent.
But
You're going to kill them. He throws
kobolds,
a second
these
money
are
on the
people.
table.
These are people. And we're not murderers. If we can find an amicable solution, that would be better for everybody.
Bam. There's money on the table. Kill them. Get rid of them. I don't want to see them anymore. They're harassing the town.
We will neutralize the problem.
What do they have that you want? I was gonna say that. Mine or something? Yeah. I asked him what they have that he wants.
He shrugs. I don't know what they have. They just keep taking our stuff.
I would like for probably Gustav to make an insight check.
Yeah, go
He
for
seems
it.
to be the only one that can succeed at that. I'll roll it anyway, but yeah, I still got a 7 on that.
16.
He seems to be sincere in that he just wants them taken care of because they are harassing the village.
So he didn't actually mean like he's not after something that they have.
Not that you were aware of, or that he indicated.
Okay.
He throws the gold on the table like, when you leaving?
Have we already finished breakfast and stuff, or are we still in the middle?
You're at the end. You could probably still eat a little bit more.
I say as soon as we finish a meeting here, we'll head out.
Excellent. He claps and walks out. There is now a bag of gold on the table.
Master Faust, do you want to handle this like you did the other things you found?
Yeah, I can hold on to it. Yeah.
Master Stormshield, by chance, and I slip into Elven for a second. I ask him if he can understand me.
What?
Unfortunate.
What's
How much is in
unfortunate?
the coin purse? Whatever.
You count it out, and it's about 50 gold.
Okay.
Like what happened yesterday in front of our good friend Marshmallow, there may come a time where we want to converse in secret.
Oh, well, I only speak common.
We'll work something out.
As we're finished eating, Julian has counted the gold and put it with the stash.
Should we just go straight away, or do you think it's worth trying to find someone who's actually dealt with the kobolds directly and gather more information?
Might be worth it if we can figure out who was a part of that scuffle that Ularg told us.
Guide would be a good idea.
So you try to find the person that was in the scuffle.
Yeah, someone involved in that fight that Ularg told us about.
He talks about a farm that is just a few minutes out of town, and that's where the scuffle happened. So you head out that way. You get to a farm. It's a very simple house. The farm looks to be under trees, and there's something growing in the farm, but in the farm, it's not a huge farm. It's maybe half an acre. There's a little shed. No one's out working in the yard. You don't see anyone, so maybe they're in the house.
What kind of animals can I see around in the area?
You hear birds, nothing exotic that you're aware of. Perhaps you see a squirrel. There's no distinct, unusual animals that you see.
If you give me 10 minutes, I can talk to one of the birds or the squirrels. Or do we want to go up to the front door and knock and bother anyone who might be inside the farmhouse?
If you want to take the animal path, I think Lance and I can handle talking to the residents.
Okay. All right, Josh. So I'm going to start ritual casting Speak with Animals,
Gotcha.
and then I'm going to hand out a little bit of rations so like if I can get one of the squirrels or the birds to come talk to me and
Right.
ask them if they saw anything.
All right. Deal with the other two talking with the goblin first, since it takes 10
Sure,
minutes.
that's fine.
You walk up to the house. It's built for a goblin. It doesn't really so it is goblin size, so it is kind of a tiny house compared to your sizes.
Sure.
I don't think I should go in.
So you knock. A couple seconds later, a goblin answers the door. His arms in a sling. He has a crutch, a crude crutch, and his seems to not be. He seems to be favoring his right leg, and his left leg seems to be bandaged.
Mm-hmm.
He looks up. His eyes go wide. I heard there are humans that I've never seen. What are you? He points over at Julian. Your ears are different, and you're shorter. He seems to just be in awe.
That's a natural response. I'm a very interesting specimen, but we're actually here to ask you some questions. It seems like that from events recently, you don't look like you're in quite the shape you used to be.
Nah, filthy kobolds. He spits on the ground. Taking my food. Had to put up a fight. I wasn't gonna let them just run over my farm and not have consequences.
So, well, we're here to help, and we were hoping that we could have a guide who could take us to their encampments. But clearly, it looks like you're in no condition to travel.
Not really, no. I can't even farm. They beat me up good.
What did they like? What are the extents of your injuries? Like, did they stab you, or did they just bruise you, break a bone?
And I broke my arm, and my knee's all messed up. Beat me down.
How many of them were there?
There are 10. 10 huge kobolds. They were huge. Go ahead and roll a insight check.
20 total.
4.
Oh, he's lying off his ass. He's exaggerating a huge time. There's no getting around that. It's obvious. There were not 10 kobolds, and they were not huge. He's lying.
Yeah. That sounds terrifying. I'm very sorry to hear that. Do you know if they were they here to attack you, or were you defending them from taking your crops?
Who knows what they were going to do? I mean, I caught them in my barn. They were taking my seeds, but without my seeds, I can't plant my farm. Without my farm, I have no way to live. Treacherous kobolds. Treacherous, I tell you.
Treacherous indeed. We must go and slay them immediately. Remember,
He looks,
I 100%
he gasps,
believe this
yes,
guy.
kill them all. They're filthy. They don't deserve to live. He seems to be gung-ho about the whole killing thing.
It's a good thing I left room for another badge on my vestments here. I don't know if you noticed all my badges.
Very shiny.
I thank you. I think I have room for a kobold slaying badge.
You should go earn that.
Indeed.
So,
Remember, I 100% believe this guy. My insight was shit.
He rolled 1. You don't believe him.
yeah.
Not about the
I
numbers,
don't
anyways.
believe him. Okay. I think I misheard earlier.
Oh, no, sorry. Like, everyone was like, he's lying out his ass. You guys know he was lying about there being 10 big kobolds.
Can I do like a performance check to like try and walk past Lance and then accidentally trip on him and try and knock the kobold over? I mean, not the goblin.
Yeah. And
Okay.
making it look like an accident.
Yeah, yeah. Like I just,
Yeah, okay.
was trying to catch myself and accidentally knocked him over, and I got a 17 for that.
He buys it, and you knock into the kobold, and the kobold gets knocked down, and he winches in pain. Hey,
Oh,
careful now!
oh, I'm terribly sorry. And I like look at Lance if he tries to like help him up, like this look of don't do it.
I pick up on that.
He tries to stand up, and he's able to manage it eventually. But if you're trying to determine if his wounds are
Yeah,
actual
it's pretty
wounds, they
solvable.
are. There are wounds. It looks like he can't really put too much weight on his left leg, and his right arm, well, works. Does look like it's injured.
Okay. Yeah, that was the whole purpose of that.
Okay. So something happened to him. It just might not have been 10 kobolds. 10
Yeah.
huge kobolds. They're getting bigger.
Yeah.
Kobolds aren't that big.
Sorry, I'm such a klutz. Oh,
He looks
where?
annoyed, but he's okay.
Sorry, I'm sorry. Here, have like 5 silver pieces. This should
He looks pretty
come across as.
excited.
Anyway, you said the attack happened in your barn. Is it okay if we have a look in there?
I guess.
Sure.
You'll forgive me for not showing you. I wanted to sit down.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I don't mind at all.
Okay. He unless you guys continue talking with me, lets you walk towards the barn. And he closes the door behind him.
Sure.
So you get to the barn. It's hard to call it a barn. It's more of a shed, by Euro standards. There are some crates in there. There's basically crates, tools. Nothing. They're kind of crude tools. They're well used. Ground has like hay and dirt on the ground.
So here's a question: Why, why would kobolds who are trying to rob you leave you alive? They like injure you but leave you alive if they're apparently the kinds of creatures who would kill a messenger on sight.
But I fought them off.
You fought off 10 huge kobolds.
Well, not very well. They still took my stuff, but I kept a lot of them busy. You can roll a check, insight check.
10.
He seems to be telling the truth, to his recollection. So, do you look for anything specific while you're in the little shed?
Yeah, well, I'm at the shed. I'm looking for any signs of this fight that broke out. If there's any broken crates, if there's like I don't know any weapon marks like in the walls or like in the like support beam, and I'm also trying to see like if the tracks like I don't know if kobolds have like like more pointed feet. If there's anything to suggest those over goblins.
Go ahead and roll insight. Investigation, sorry, not insight.
That's gonna be a natural one. So I don't.
No. You don't
It's
see
not good.
specific signs of struggle. But on the other hand, it sounded like it was at least a week away.
Okay.
So you just don't see tracks because you think it's been too long.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything else in the barn?
Very big oof. I mean, yeah, I'm still digging around as far as like obvious things like what is in here that could have been stolen or seen as valuable.
Let's see. You look in the crates. There are some seeds in one. There's some like dehydrated vegetables in some others. But it
So it's
looks like
food.
there's a lot of missing room for mixing boxes and stuff. So it
So it
looks
looks like
like,
maybe just a lot of food.
yeah, it looked like it'd be like food or seeds for the next season, stuff like that was stored in here. But there's definitely room for stuff that could have been stolen. But there's still some stuff there.
As far as like the farm itself, is it like it's like a rough estimate for how much it should be like producing?
Um, probably enough for 5 households for a year.
Does it like match the inventory? Like even like when you think about like stuff was stolen, like does it match up? Like he could have had a lot more than what he had, besides just space, but like what he can produce.
It seems like he would have, if it's going to produce as much as they think he could produce. It looks like there should still be more stuff here. It doesn't seem like there's enough to accurately reseed his farm based
Okay.
off the seeds.
Okay. And since I can't seem to investigate much other of the hidden stuff, I can tell Lance if he wants to take a look, and otherwise I'll go back to Lawrence and wait for him to finish his spell.
Okay. Was there anything else you wanted to do, Lance?
Not that I can think of at the moment.
Okay. So it's been about 10 minutes. You can cast your spell now, Lawrence.
Okay.
You're able to get a squirrel with your
Okay.
food.
Hi there, little one. So a few days ago, the farmer that lives here was beat up by some people. Did you see that happen?
The Seed Man? Yeah?
Yes.
There
Uh,
are some people that look different than him that were here. Yeah?
Wait, Josh. In this world, are kobolds lizard people or dog people? 'Cause there's been a couple different versions in D&D's past.
I'm just going to go with the Dragonkin lizard-looking ones.
Okay. I describe that and I ask the squirrel if that's what they looked like.
Mm-hmm. They were...
Uh,
He looks at his paws, and he puts up a paw really cutely. This many! It's very adorable.
how many is that?
That's 5. I think, yeah, they have 5, I think.
What were they doing?
They went to the smaller house, and there was like the Seed Man didn't like it, and there was some yelling, and I don't know, it's kind of scary. And then they like fought, and then a bunch of them took boxes or took the seed housings and left, and then Seed Man kind of crawled back into his house.
Did Seedman have anyone else with him that looked like him?
No, this was really dark out.
You don't happen to understand big people talk, do you? Except for me, obviously.
Never paid much attention.
That's fair.
Thanks for the food.
Oh, you're welcome. You've been very helpful, friend.
Yeah, nuts better. Do you have any nuts?
I'll see if I... Do I have nuts in amongst my trail rations?
Yeah.
I give him some nuts.
He takes some nuts, eats some nuts, puts some nuts in his mouth. Did you have any other questions for him while he's eating his nuts?
I can't think of any.
Okay. So he eats his nuts and goes away, and you guys meet back up.
So he's clearly lying about the number of kobolds, and he's actually very clearly injured. And from what I can tell, there is missing inventory.
Right. There's something sketchy going on. I wouldn't be surprised if the goblins like attacked first, and this is retaliation, or maybe there's a third party threat.
Yeah. I mean, they took food, so I don't know if that has anything to do with it. Maybe they like attacked a supply source, and this is what they had to do. But yeah, but definitely there's aggression on both sides. Then yeah.
So what's your next step?
I'd say go find the goblin lair and do recon on it.
You mean the kobold?
The kobold lair, I mean.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I need to talk to them, get their side before we start murdering.
All right. So you head out. Make a survival check. Everyone that's going. So all three of you make a survival check. It's to follow the directions he gave you.
8.
I rolled a 13.
All right, that's good enough. It's pretty easy to follow based on what they said. It was a little harder to find the place than you expected, so it took longer. It took half a day instead of just a couple hours. So it's like early afternoon. And what you see is a large ruin complex. It has one major building and a bunch of ruined outbuildings. And the front to the ruined building that is bigger and intact has a wall around it. And there is an entrance. But that's all you see from scouting from a distance until you actually go into the ruins.
I want to send my owl ahead to do a flyover and see what she can spot.
Okay. You fly over, see the ruins I was talking about. There's really only one building that's still intact, which is the larger one. It's ornate. It has statues and stuff like that.
Any signs of kobolds?
Nope. The area in front of the building, and in I guess it's kind of a courtyard in front of the door. It does look well used. This is amongst trees, by the way. I forgot to mention that. The forest has kind of grown up around these ruins. What's your next move?
Oh, I was going to suggest that Yulian see if he can scout ahead without being seen before we all just barge in there.
Best time to do that would be the dark time, but
So you want to see if we can make a hidden camp and then wait till nightfall?
yeah, it would give me time to create my cartographer maps and stuff too that we've already explored for our other purposes.
Okay. So that's how we're going to end it. You make a camp and you for the rest of the day off in the distance, so you're not near the ruins, I'm guessing. And next month you will see if there are any kobolds in the ruins.